Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 204 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I am joined by the man who is going to eat the biggest turkey of them all, Lord Cognito. I don't mean that as like, I'm sorry, that sounded like I was saying like you got a big appetite or I'm like roasting your caloric intake, but I don't know. I feel like you indulge in a little turkey on Turkey Day, do you not?
Oh, yeah. Beefy boy got to eat.
Yeah, all right.
Man.
How you doing, good sir?
Turkey. I'm hanging in. It's been a rough week, as you know. Me and you talked and, the thing about life is funny. Like when you go through setbacks or disappointment, I always try to reflect on like what you could do better and that kind of stuff. So your boy going through a tough time. It's been a rough year in the industry. It's been a rough year in tech. And I was trying to kind of figure out, the next move kind of thing. But no, other than that, as far as the holiday and stuff like that, I'm getting ready. Obviously, I'll get to see King and the fam and stuff like that, so that'll be good. I'm more of a I'm a turkey. I'm a cranberry and stuffing guy though. Like it has to be the combination. You know what I'm saying? That's what really gets me going. So he's got something going on in the family, so I'll be over there tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it, man. So what about you? What's been going on?
Yeah, this year we are doing, so normally what Laylee and I try to do is split the holiday. Like we'll go to my parents real quick. We'll go to Laylee's family real quick. Her family's gigantic. Now, last year we tried to do that and it was just like a total mess, dude. Like we were just driving like 45 minutes because no one lives close to us, like 45 minutes to an hour everywhere. And we barely got to spend time really with anyone when it was all said and done. So like last year we just got home. We're picking one and we're alternating after that. So I was like, let's make it easy. I said, we'll see your parents and your family first, do mine next year. And my family loves to do like secondary Thanksgiving anyway, like come over for leftovers. So it was like, all right, perfect. This works out. So we're doing that this year. And I don't know, like they make some interesting dishes. For example, like one of Laylee's traditions is a stuffing fried rice, and it is excellent, might I add.
Sounds amazing.
It is incredible, but it is definitely not like the first thing that comes to mind. It does now because it's tradition, but it's not like your typical Thanksgiving dish. The things I look forward to most at Thanksgiving do not involve the turkey, really. As I thought about it more and more, it's like my mom makes a recipe that my grandma made called creamed onions, which I always get cooked up for with my friends, and I've told you about when I showed you
the story. Yes.
Yeah, it definitely does. It looks a little wrong, but it's very good. It's very good. So, there's a lot of good stuff that doesn't have to do with the turkey that I anticipate. So we'll be eating good tomorrow. So happy Thanksgiving to anyone celebrating. To the rest of you, happy Thursday or wherever you end up catching this podcast. And it's a holiday week, meaning the news can be a little slow, but do we have some exciting things to get into this week. That's for sure. The holiday cheers in full swing across the internet. So we hope everyone's doing just fine as they catch this episode of Defining Duke. If anyone's interested in supporting our show, patreon.com/laststandmedia, link down below, or wherever you can find that link. If you're on mobile, I think it is on the actual podcast page, but nonetheless, patreon.com/laststandmedia. Get early ad-free access to our shows that go live on Thursday. You also get early ad-free access to Sacred Symbols, our flagship show, Summon Sign, Punching Up, Constellation. Also, if you're a patron, you'll get access to Sacred Symbols Plus. And we just recorded a spoiler cast. It was myself. It was Rick Hogue, the Hogue Law, the honorary third Duke member during San Diego's live show, and our very own Gene Park gathering up to talk 3+ hours of Dragon Age: The Veilguard. And really excited to see the reception of the show. It's already out. So I haven't had a chance to take a look at it, but it's a great conversation, man. It's a tough game to talk about, but 3 hours gives you plenty of room to get into all the nooks and crannies this game offers. It was a little chaotic at first. Like there were two guys that really like to go, so I had to kind of wrangle them in, like at least 40
you was a host in duties?
Yeah, well, I had to host it.
Oh, you was a hosting duty.
I had to host this, and so I was struggling a little bit at first. I can't lie, because they go, and I'm like,
they go.
I'm trying to pull back in and be like, okay, next story beat. But at a certain point, I just said, let him fucking go.
Yeah. Like, G go get his balls off.
Yeah, 100%.
And then with Hogan's passion, he'll get his tangents. Yeah. I can see that. As a host, I can totally get that.
It's always great to see Hogue. He was in great spirits, good energy. So yeah, please check out that episode of Sacred Plus if you are a patron. I think eventually those go out for free, but they decide that amongst themselves at a separate time. So support us. We're doing great things. We'd love to have you a part of it. But also what you get to do on Patreon is you get to write in. Just like AJ White. We have a lot of write-ins this week, so wanted to lean into them. AJ writes, hey, Dukes, my wife and I welcomed our first child, our son Christopher, into the world on October 31st. Ironically, Halloween is our favorite holiday. I need to ask the mighty Dukes, when the time comes for him to play video games, if he wants to, what should his first spooky game be? Five Nights at Freddy's on his 5th birthday party with his friends, Dead Space in high school, fuck him up permanently and expose him to Silent Hill 2. I'm wishing you boys a great day. Shout out to AJ. Congrats on the new kid on Veilguard Day. Hope you enjoyed that. Cog, you're introducing this young one to a scary game for the first time, a spooky Halloween game for the first time. I have a pick in mind, but do you have one?
Yeah, you know what I'm going with? First of all, welcome, young Christopher to the realm. You know what I'm saying? The realm of the Dukes. That's a blessing. We got another birth this month, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go Resident Evil. Because there's a part, obviously, depends on the complexity of, there's a controls thing here. Because I know we mentioned in all these games that seem, most to be adolescents as opposed to child. So I'm assuming maybe you're going to have Christopher watch this stuff while you play, because I'm assuming he's not ready yet. So, I guess because for me, it's like Resident Evil has those jump scares moments, but it's hokey enough so that you're not like super crazy terrified. Like Silent Hill 2 is just too much mental.
You will ruin this kid.
You'll ruin this child. Like, we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to scar this child emotionally where they can't go through life. You know what I'm saying? Look at that, mannequin's different. That kind of thing. It'll message you. So that's me. But what are you thinking for the youngin? You know what I'm saying? What are you introducing him to?
AJ, I've got you covered. Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. Right. A little 3D platformer. It's got a little spooky theme to it, but it's Scooby, right? Like, Scooby isn't scary. I shouldn't say that. When I was a kid, there was that Scooby-Doo villain. It was the dude who was underwater with like the full jumpsuit and the yellow glow. He scared the shit out of me as a kid, man. Outside of that, though, Scooby-Doo, I think. Oh, I'm sorry. And there was also, oh my God, I got to get the movie. But there was another one. It was like of the 3 witches. That one also got me. Boo Brothers is an amazing movie. But yeah, if you want to like baby's first kind of spooky movie.
All right, I see where we're going.
Get a little Scooby-Doo going. And the video games are great. Night of 100 Frights is a phenomenal 3D platformer that I loved as a kid. I hope one day they bring back. I would love to see like a random ass remake of that. I feel like it's on that list. Like, I could see a THQ Nordic just being like, hey, let's just remake this. Why not? Right? Because they did Battle for Bikini Bottom, which everyone thought was impossible, myself included. And that was fantastic. So I'm hoping that maybe we get that back. But that would be my selection, right? For the youngins. Now, Dead Space in high school is a great play. That's what I did. That was a great first plunge into true survival horror. Resident Evil, you can ease them in a little bit, right? Do a little co-op Resident Evil 5. It's a mixture of very rare tension, but it's, co-op. You feel a little safer with
it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
A little more action focused. And then maybe throw a Resident Evil 2 or 4 at him once he kind of knows what he's messing with, right? Like, Christopher has a very bright future. Don't mess it up, AJ. Please.
Yes. I do want to add on. For the early, I want to throw in honorable mention Luigi's Mansion. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
Get
good
him
one.
in there, a little fun, but still a little, play on spooky and cutesy. You know what I'm saying? For the little Duke right there. So I definitely want to shout them out. I think that's a nice little start for him.
I think the movie is called Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. I think that's the one. For those who don't know, I'm talking about the one. Someone write in. I'm talking about the one where it's Scooby and there are these like 3 goth chicks who are part of like a band. I feel like it's an iconic Scooby-Doo movie. But that is the one I am talking about. And I think it's Witch's Ghost, but someone let me know. All right. We got more here in the Health is Wealth department is Casey Sislakowski. You know what? You wrote in here that you rolled your eyes during the Health is Wealth segment, Casey. So guess what? I get to mispronounce your last name a little bit. You let me know how it goes. Health is Wealth. Greetings. I'm going to be honest that I usually roll my eyes during the Health is Wealth segments, but I did try something Maddie suggested, and it worked wonders. I run a lot, and the last few months have been terrible. I've been getting terrible pains, and during and after my runs, sorry, I'm completely butchering it right in here. This has severely limited how far and often I can run. Well, Maddie, I tried turmeric, and it's working wonders, little to no pain, and you have made me a believer. I asked my mom for Castlevania for Christmas, and she got me Ghoul School instead, kind of day. Casey, thank you for the write-in. I want to be clear. We've said this a million times with our Health as Well things, that obviously go talk to your doctor first before you take anything. We are speaking from our own personal experience. I'm glad it worked out for you, but do not blame me for this.
Yeah, we see comments like, yo,
that's a good one. I'm going to try that. I'm like, talk to the doctor first, right? That's step one. That only reason I went on turmeric is because I spoke to my doctor first. I was having elbow inflammation. It wasn't going away. He showed me his finger and said, I can't bend this unless I'm on turmeric. Try it. Let me know how it goes. I tried it. My life changed for the better. I actually, talking to a friend who's seeing a doctor soon, and he's looking into supplements. Like he's like, magnesium. He can't stay awake or sleep. So like valerian root is something he's looking into. He's talking to his doctor about vitamin D, that sort of stuff. There are varying qualities of these sort of supplements is what I learned personally. Like I used to take like one a day men's multi-health or multivitamin, and I never felt the difference. It was a complete waste of money. You're kind of just throwing crap in your body. But once I started looking into better vitamins, talk to your doctors about this sort of stuff. It's very enlightening what it can do for you. I was off my magnesium for 2 weeks. My migraines came back in full swing. It was horrible, bro. Like I literally felt like coursing through my brain. It's an awful feeling, awful feeling, like light sensitivity. And obviously when you're trying to work at your computer, you're like, oh, fuck. Even with these glasses that I typically wear.
About to tell you, man, you were talking. I was like, bro,
I put these on just during the show. I don't look how much these reflect, bro. You can literally see my whole script.
You can see your screen. I know why you don't do it, but I'm hoping when you're doing those, your videos, your retro, they're on.
And it makes it. By the way, I gotta give you credit because I really did start making an issue to put them on, and my gaming stamina has really increased. I recognized that. I was like, why can't I hang with some of these sessions longer? I get a headache or I get tired. And it's like, I've been playing 3 hours, and I'm like, I'm straining and I don't realize it. And so I put these on and I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'm going like, if with breaks, by the way, but like 5-6 hours and feeling pretty good throughout. I'm like, okay. Next step, I'll be on Valari, bro.
That's it, bro. We got to get the Valari for the elbows. You got to get the gunners for the. I'm telling you, I'm going to give you the IOP gaming kit. Health is Wealth kit. I just put Addict on to Gunners, and he's like, bro.
I actually, what's so funny? I mean, interrupt you, but what's so funny is I saw you guys were doing ILP, so I just click and I'll just like listen for a few minutes, and literally Addict was putting on the glasses and talking about it. I was like, wow.
Bro, I gotta save my boy. I'm like, bro, you are the gaming addict, right? You're on these games beating. Bro, he like do Game Plus Metaphor. I'm like, bro, you're a savage. Bro, he's a savage. And I'm like, he's just like, bro, I got all these headaches. I'm like, look. So, I got some samples, obviously working to deal with them. So I say, look, we got to send some samples to my boy. He needs this. You know what I'm saying? We've had eye doctors that were gamers on in the past. They talked about, the eye strain, the UV light, you know what I'm saying? Low light conditions, being on the screen is so much like it. Gamers, we're the worst with this. Yeah. So, bro, he put it on. He was just like, oh my God, it's night there. Like, he said, I'm not having migraines. I said, see, I told you, you younger than me. You know what I'm saying?
Huge difference, man. Takes a little adjusting. Like, if you don't wear glasses, which I don't, like the kind of weight around like your bridge of your nose.
Yes, the bridge of the nose, that part.
That kind of wears me down a little bit. I sometimes will like take a break and like take them off for a little bit and then put them back on. That's fine. I also turn on the yellow light on my computer screens. I feel like that's something that people overlook. It just helps a lot with reducing that sort of strain. Macro writes in, hey, Dashing Dukes, this is a first for me, but I wanted to offer up a little health is wealth message. For a few years now, I've been over 100 kg, about 220 pounds, and have hated myself for it, but I never found it in me to do anything about it, always giving up when I've tried. In August, I decided it was finally time to do something about it. So for the last 3 months, I've been watching my caloric intake and working out around 3 to 4 days a week after work. And I don't have numbers, but I finally started to feel a little bit better about myself. I even had to buy a new belt size down. Thanks for the positive messaging over the years and have a Elden Ring 2 only on PlayStation 6 kind of day.
Savagery. I love it, man. Shout out to Macro, man. Nah, that's big. That's big. You know, I think the key thing that he said is, you know, managing that caloric intake. And I know I'm bad at it. One of the things that used to help me was this app called Lose It. And like anything you put in, like you had this, and then you could actually scan the barcode of whatever it is, and boom, all your ingredients, everything you put in your body, and then you can actually monitor and see what's going on. And that was really helpful. But the key thing I like you said is that when you go that belt size buckle down, oh, you know you're saying. So salute to you for taking. I would just say, get that scale though. Get that scale. Kind of get it. You need to know what the number is. You know what I'm saying? Just to at least see, okay, because there's sometimes I'm like, I don't really feel like I'm doing something, but my diet's been better. And I'm like, oh, I dropped some pounds this week. Okay, you know what I mean? And there's other times you feel the opposite. So it's always good to kind of monitor that, get that scale too.
Especially because now you're in that rhythm. So you're not going to be like scale scoping is what I call it, where like when I was trying to lose like a quick 10, 15 pounds, because I was like, oh, I want to get back to around like 180 kind of range and then kind of rebuild from there when I started lifting some weights. But I was like scale peaking constantly. Like I'd be multiple times a day. I'd be like, oh, fuck no. You know, it's just like, you know, trying to like weigh myself before I ate anything, but making sure like I am on empty, if you catch my drift. Like that is the best way to weigh yourself, but some days it doesn't work out that way. But now you're in that habit, right? So the number is going to matter, but it's going to matter less than how you feel and what you see in the mirror. If you like what you see in the mirror. And I think that'll be your best gauge for sure. But yeah, the scale is super important. You know, it really is the punctuation mark to your progress at the end of the day.
Good point. I like that.
Tom's our next write-in. Greetings, my dukes who define. I wanted to write in and tell you about a breakthrough I had while streaming games on the xCloud, and more specifically about using the Logitech G Cloud. At the recommendation of Maddie, I purchased one about a year ago, but immediately found the experience of streaming games to be very disappointing. I was plagued by poor resolution, compression artifacts, and just the overall visual experience was headache-inducing. This was despite having 1 gigabyte per second internet and overall a good Wi-Fi setup. Fast forward to today, and I'm minutes away from listing this thing on eBay and cursing Mr. Maddie's name. However, I stumbled upon a Reddit post where someone suggested the Better xCloud, which is a free app/browser extension. And let me tell you what a game changer this was. It let you set the resolution manually and really customize a lot of the back-end settings to your liking. Now my games stream at 1080p and look beautiful. No more compression. I'm beyond excited to finally start using the G Cloud to the full extent. Also, I tried out Hades, which was just added to the Stream Your Own Game catalog, and it worked flawlessly like the other games. So if anyone had the same poor experience like I did, you owe it to yourself to give it a try. I'm astonished at the upgrade in the visuals and performance. I don't understand the voodoo that makes it run better, but it does. Keep doing what you guys do, and thanks so much for keeping me entertained all these years later. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate this because you know, it's like one thing if like a game recommendation goes south, I still feel bad about it, but like a tech purchase of like $300+, I'm like, damn, it didn't work out. That sucks. Like I can't just hit them with like, oh, that sucks. You know, it's like it's like, damn, that's a lot of money. And so yeah, I try. Yeah. That's why I stay away from hardware reviews really, because like number one, I'm not super knowledgeable and fluent in hardware breakdowns, but also like I worry about this sort of stuff where it's like, man, for a year you just had like a completely different experience from me who like I got mine right here, was just using it the other night. I love this thing. So I'm glad it's working out there. I find it interesting that you needed that though. I've never heard of Better xCloud as like an app or browser extension. I don't know if you're playing the games through the browser on the G Cloud because they have the dedicated Xbox app and you can play through that. They also have like you can download the PlayStation app onto there and do PlayStation remote streaming on there. So like it supports both of it natively. So I it's very surprising to hear that this was needed, but I wanted to make sure the Realm of the Dukes heard about this in case they're having a similar experience to Tom and needed to get that streaming quality up.
Yeah, I didn't even know about this app. Like, so salute to Tom. Yeah, this is news to me. So it looks like they have a Chrome Edge, Android app, WebOS for TVs as well, and Safari for Mac users. So yeah, this seems to be a thing. And as long as they're giving that customization on the back end, I do like that type of stuff where you're adjusting resolution and getting rid of, you know, dealing with the compression. That's a huge deal. Wondering why that's not baked in.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. That was like right where my head went. I was like, interesting.
That sounds like awesome features to have.
Yeah, I agree. So Xbox, stop letting a free browser extension do your job. Thank you. All right, last write in here before we get into the news. Zip Davis writes in, hello, International House of Dukes. I was curious about the IHOP and Xbox promotion. Decided to try some of the food. I tried the Indiana Jones cookie butter French toast. As soon as that fluffy toast touched my taste buds, I let out a big ooh-wee. It felt like the great serpent descended from the clouds above and shattered my space.
Hey, yo.
I braved this sugar-encrusted caloric challenge, and now I'm happy to say I have enough points to buy that sweet Xbox collector's glass. I just have to wait for the Indiana Jones glass to drop. I have to say, after this journey, I realized it wasn't about the journey, but the diabetes we gained along the way. My question is, Dukes, will you try any of these meals and report back? Thank you, Zip Davis, for writing in. Cog, any thoughts on this IHOP Xbox collaboration?
First of all, Zip, you wild out of pocket. This man said it felt like the great serpent came down and shattered his face. He is wild out of pocket, man. Second of all, man, this stuff has so much sugar in it. Jeez, I'm looking at this menu.
Do you see the party animals one?
Bro, this is wild. Like, don't get me wrong. You know, I used to dabble at IHOP back in the day.
I've never had IHOP before.
Oh, you know, you need to experience that. IHOP.
Really? Is it good?
No, IHOP, the pancakes is fire. I can't front. It's the great late night spot. I will say that. If you had a late night spot, I remember one of my earlier IHOPs was like in Chicago. I was like, yeah, this is amazing. But now look, I like French toast, but damn, it's so cookie, butter, vanilla. This is a diabetes machine, right? I can see sweet cream, the great circle of cinnamon. This treasure trove is layered with rich cinnamon spread and drizzled with sweet cream cheese icing. Bro, like this is a kid's like sugar high. Stuff.
Listen to some of these Xbox menu items. This is on the Xbox Wire. Party animals, pancake combo with 2 cupcake pancakes with pork sausage links, hash browns, and 2 eggs over medium. Grounded is here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, big brunch steak burger with hickory smoked bacon, fried egg, crispy potato pancake, American cheese, and IHOP sauce. Serve with a side of buttermilk pancakes. There's a fucking side dish.
Side.
That's crazy. Here's the best one. The Force of Family Feast.
Hey, yo.
Fuel your crew without having to hit the pause button with this exclusive Force of Family Feast. Enjoy 4 servings of each of scrambled eggs and golden hash browns, 8 hickory smoked bacon strips, 8 pork sausage links, and of course, 8 world famous buttermilk pancakes. You have to take down this delicious feast today. Serves for, available for a limited time through IHOP and Go only, not available for dine-in. So this is takeout.
This is takeout. Wow, this is takeout. Yeah, I will say this though. The collectible stuff is fire. I don't know if you saw like the stuff you can win.
Can you send me that? That's what I was
I'm gonna send you the link because you send me the Xbox version.
Yeah.
You seem like you read it from like an Xbox.
Yeah, I'm literally reading from there.
Yeah, I just sent you the all right. So let me see. Yeah, because the collectible glasses, I might need that Indiana Jones and that Halo Infinite joint. That's kind of fire right there. All right, let me.
This is literally on the IHOP website. This is crazy. Okay.
Yeah, yours now.
Okay, that should give you game. Oh wait, these glasses are nice.
It's fire. Go to IHOP. IHOP got it popping.
Hold up, I'm in.
Yeah, IHOP collectibles, bro, is fire.
The Halo Infinite one is mad nice. Indiana Jones one is nice. The Xbox one that mixes them all together. They got mouse pads.
That
are
look like
pancakes with Xbox decorations on them. What the hell is this?
Flight Simulator with the glass. Is that Sea of Thieves? That's a Sea of Thieves glass.
Yeah. Wait, how? Okay, so you just order food?
That's what I'm saying. How do we get that's what I want to know. I'm gonna join now. Oh, I think you gotta join now, earn rewards, join now, receive. Okay, is it reward based? We gonna find this.
Yeah.
I need those glasses though. I ain't going front.
I was gonna say I kind of want those glasses, man.
Yeah.
That's
gaming,
awesome.
Yeah, glasses. I love like see-through cups and stuff like that.
Dude,
that has the games.
I am such a sucker for those. When I was at a thrift store the other day, I found these 2000. It was dated 2000 McDonald's Mickey Mouse cups. They were and they were themed around like Safari Park and like all these parts of like I think Disney World or Land. I always get them crossed up because I've never been. I apologize for my ignorance.
Good.
But there's like a collectible set of 4, and it's like $20 online. But I found these 2, and I was like, oh my god, these are awesome! Like I love nice vintage glasses, and so like when I see like glasses like these, I'm like 20 years from now, this thing's gonna be rad.
It's gonna be worth something.
Like, would you like some lemonade? Just pour that in. Like, oh, where'd you get that glass? I got a story for you.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. I'm the same.
Right on, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, Zip Davis. We'll investigate. If anyone wants to fill us in on how, in the meantime, if we somehow forget, to get these collectible glasses, let us know. And yeah, we'll inform everyone on our blood sugar levels and everything once it's all done. All right, Cog. Good set of write-ins there to get us started. And now we move into Avowed, which we'll talk about more extensively later. But for now, we open up with Avowed's director, Carrie Patel, who spoke to Gamesradar on Obsidian's next game versus the competition. She says, quote, "I don't think you're ever going to find a window where absolutely nothing is coming out and you're going to be the only one out for a month. But we're very confident Avowed is going to stand on its own. I'm very excited about a lot of the games coming out personally, and I think that we're also a very distinct experience from them," end quote. Which I like the stance she's taken here. You know, confident. That's good. Sam Kingma writes in, though. "Happy Turkey Day, Dukes." Thank you, Sam. "I'm a big fan of the podcast, but wanted to push back a bit on last week's praise of the Avowed preview. Maddie, after the recent catastrophe with the Dragon Age of Veilguard preview, which you said was essentially a highlight reel and did not reflect the full game experience whatsoever, I was hoping you would see this as a lesson learned and be a bit harsher on preview events and demos going forward. This is not the first time this has happened either, as both of you and Cog were blindsided after having very positive Redfall previews, the same publisher as Avowed. This feels like a fool me once, shame on you, but fool me twice, shame on me situation. Is it time to stop giving the benefit of the doubt to these vertical slices built solely for positive press coverage? I am very thankful for the endless hours of entertainment you guys provide each and every week. Thanks again for taking the time to read my question. Have a I am so absolutely stuffed that I cannot even think about picking up a controller kind of day." Thank you, Sam, for the write-in and for standing on business. God, where do we want to pick this up? We want to talk about Carrie and to say. We want to hit up Sam's write-in. Like, how are we feeling here?
I'm ready. So let's start with Carrie. I like that energy. I like that. You know, hey, we outside. We confident about what we have. And that's good because obviously we do know it's competitive, you know, space. But I think she is right that gaming is getting to the point where it's just so many games. It is hard to juggle the release dates now because, again, if they would have came out in November when Assassin's Creed was there, people were like, hey, that's a mistake. You get killed by Assassin's Creed or whatever. So I get that. I like that. Now with Sam. All right. So Sam, I hear where you're going. But I want to push back on the pushback. So this is my thing. Look. You are correct in the sense that, look, these events, obviously, right, companies want to garner positive coverage, right? They want you to come in there and love their game. Like, hey, we worked on this thing. We want to show you. And obviously, we want to show you what we want to show you is our best foot forward so you could go on and report or whatever. That's the game. We get that. What I want to say is, like, you know, as far as the comment in terms of like lesson learned and, you know, being a bit harder on preview events, I said, look, you come in there, you can only talk about what you experienced, right? Maddie, to your point, you know, you played Veilguard. What they showed you at that time was amazing to you, right? And I think we have to be careful with saying, like, I'm going to come in here and police the fun. Like, if you enjoyed what you played, right, that's fine. Now, also, bigger picture, we have to be careful that, you know, this is indicative of what you do. Doesn't mean the whole game's going to be like this. Now, in fairness to Sam with the Redfall situation, he is absolutely right? In terms of, came in there, played it, high performant PCs. Lesson learned from me, one, always ask the platform. You know what I'm saying? Two, always ask if you can, you know, and I think this is what I learned from it, went from Redfall to Avowed. When we did Avowed together, right? What was the question? I said, hey, I know we played it on PC. What's the console performance going to look like? And thus we had the quote of the year that broke down. So these are the lessons learned. But I don't want us to get into this thing where it's like, when we say fool me once. No, if you played something and you enjoyed what you played, and I played Avowed now twice, and I was already sold the first time. I really enjoyed the second time. Now, all I'm going to say is, now we need to see the rest of the game. Does the rest of the game meet that expectation? Is it going to, you know, in fairness to you, what you played with Dragon's Age was amazing to you at that point. But then when you got the full game, your thoughts change. And I think both are correct. I don't want to get into this thing where we're telling people like, you can't be that excited because you had fun with what you demoed. That, we just got to be careful on that type of thing. But other than that, now I hear where you going, Sam. I think lessons can be learned, you know, with all this stuff. But I'm curious with you, Maddie, because obviously you're in the eye of the storm with a lot of these particular games and situations. So you have a lot of experience.
Yes.
So talk about this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's something here that Sam says that is very true. It's like, yeah, like when you come in positive, I would like to measure that back. I don't think we were extremely like over the top, but that comes with the territory of like and this is not a call out particularly to Sam, but generally speaking, we have to get to a level in the conversation where there's an expectation that this is a 2-hour window into a 50-hour game. There is a big difference in what can be delivered there. And I don't think we were hard selling that at all. I know, particularly in my video, I intentionally mentioned my Dragon Age preview and said, what I played here was good, but Dragon Age has taught me to take a measured approach. And so we'll see when the game comes out. That was my final bar on my video. So I know I'm taking in that lesson in a way where it's like, yeah, I mean, Dragon Age was a fucking masterclass, I feel, in fooling me, because it was like, oh, this is like 70% of the game all in 6 hours. It's like, yeah, then I played it again. That was spread out across 40 almost. It's a huge difference. So, yeah, man, like that's one thing is like, I feel like we can't preface every single preview and be like, by the way, this is a small window into the game. By the way, the product's incomplete. By the way, the game's going to be much longer in the preview window. So eventually it comes across very defensive. And it's like, we just want to talk about what we experienced and help you gauge a level of expectation of what is there. What I said in my preview is like, I don't believe that Xbox was actually ready to ship this game here. And after seeing the preview, there was a couple of issues there technically where I was like, yeah, this game needed a few more months. Like, it feels like it's a few months away. Like, there was nothing catastrophic or disastrous, at least within the game itself. It was just, a few tweaks here or there away from where it needed to be at launch. So yeah, like I feel like we've been well measured since what happened with Redfall.
And I want to give you credit. I want to stop you right there because I remember, was it me? I felt it was me, you, and Solve at one point doing something, or at least separately. I remember talking to both of you, and both of you kind of said the same thing. You guys, as the Dishonored guys, were like, "Hey, Cock, I know you're excited, but you are not a Dishonored guy. You were worried about the trees being split up, and is it that true skill tree experience as opposed to it being broken up onto
Redfall.
Redfall. Yeah. Like that. I remember you guys were critical. I remember that. I was like, oh, okay. I get where you're coming from because you guys are the Dishonored vets and stuff like that. So there was criticism there too.
Again, that's where like, I think a defensive energy doesn't help too much. Like, obviously there's a layer of truth. Like, I was more positive on Redfall in the preview than I was obviously when it came out. Right. But there is a layer of like, I feel you don't want to get so over defensive and like start splitting hairs with your audience and be like, well, look, like I was critical of this. It's like, yeah, but I think it's just easier to bend the knee and be like, hey, look, like I just got to take the lesson from this. So I appreciate you saying that at the end of the day. I try to take as measured as approach as I can as someone who I know a lot of people value my reviews and my previews, and that those continue to grow. And it's like, you're not playing small ball like you were in 2013, 14, Matt. Like you're considered prominent to some. So it's like, okay, you need to really dial in here. But again, I think people are, Sam, no offense, but it's almost like deliberately missing the point of like positivity does not equal being fooled. It's like, if I do you want me to lie to you? Which I don't think you do. Do you want me to come out and be like, right, yeah, you know what? That was really fun. Fuck that, man. Like, that was ridiculously fun. But I don't like that it was fun. I don't trust it. It's like, this level of skepticism is healthy to an extent. We can enjoy something and be like, let's see how it all goes. And I think that is a fair, honest, measured approach. And I don't know what more you can do beyond that outside of going to the other extreme and having every game be pretty much hated upon launching it. And then be like, okay, you have to win me over from like negative 100, Right. So again, Sam, not coming at you, but I think a lot of people hold your viewpoint of like, well, you had fun. I'm like, okay, it's a 2-hour window into a 50-hour game, 40-hour, maybe 30-hour. I don't know. There's a lot of game left to be seen. And certainly I've shown that in my case of my reviews, it's like I go into the thick of it and break down what in particular set me off as the playthrough goes on. So yeah, I mean, again, I'll say, and we'll talk about Avowed very extensively in our main section, but what separate from all of that, objectively speaking, what I played in the preview, I enjoyed. Thought it was solid. So I'll keep an open eye and mind to what they're producing at Obsidian and see where we go from there.
Sounds good. Well said.
On Carrie's note, by the way, I like that she's confident, but I to that answer, I'm like, I don't know what else she could have said there. Like, yeah, we're kind of in the thick of all these releases, and damn, wish we had one more delay in us. So
one more delay in us.
All right, let's talk a bit about Call of Duty. Call of Duty Insider, the Ghost of Hope, has reported that Sledgehammer Games will be given, a full 4 years to work on Call of Duty for its 2027 release, and will not be a quote year 2 Modern Warfare game, end quote, which is kind of what Modern Warfare 3 went through. And this is important to note because it was just confirmed by the official Call of Duty Twitter account that Black Ops 6 has been one for the record books, saying it's number 1 in total players, hours played, and total matches in the first 30 days from launch, making Call of Duty Black Ops 6 the biggest Call of Duty ever. So a tremendous win there for sure for everyone, because this game is available everywhere. But with a historic Call of Duty launch, Xbox is allowing developers to have 4 years. This is a great change, dude. You can see the impact in the quality of the product. There was a renewed excitement for Call of Duty this year. There's no denying that. And so I think if this rumor proves to be true, this is great because Sledgehammer, as much as I don't like their Call of Duties, has been dealt a shit hand for multiple CODs in a row. And now they get a 4 full years and they have a chance to really come out and prove themselves. So I'm pulling for them, even though I haven't liked their last 2 Call of Duties. I'm hoping that they deliver something really good here. But it's good to see that Xbox is making this sort of change to the timeline without sacrificing the seemingly annual releases. So, Cog, what are your thoughts on not only the historic Call of Duty launch in Black Ops 6, but the report that Sledgehammer will get 4 years for their next Call of Duty?
Absolutely love it. To me, it's like whatever you did with this Black Ops 6, you need to encapsulate that. And that needs to be the development process going forward, because this Call of Duty was phenomenal. Obviously, it's critically acclaimed. People love it. And now that we're starting to get way more data, this is like the greatest Call of Duty launch ever, which is massive for Xbox. This is massive for engagement, users and stuff of that nature. So I like that. I don't know if you heard, there's also this discussion about this Call of Duty committee that I'm hearing rumors of, I think from that same Ghost of Hope gentleman, I believe. And that's interesting because there's a part of me that's like, it said like they want to focus on really the quality stories, narrative, and maps. You know what I'm saying? Which I heard was a huge focus. I saw that. I'll send you a link if you didn't see it.
Please.
Yeah, and I was just like, it is Ghost of Hope again. And I'll send it to you right now. Professional podcast.
We love that. We love that. Let's take a look here.
Yeah, so I'll just read it real quick. Please. So what I'm being told about this Ghost of Hope about the future of Call of Duty. Microsoft has set up a new committee under Activision for Call of Duty that will control features and systems at the franchise level and let the studios make suggestions. So whether something like Omni Movement, which is new to the franchise, survives past this year will be decided not by Infinity Ward or Treyarch, but by this committee. Studios are being told not to innovate in areas like UI, prestige, certain gameplay features, but instead to focus on innovating on maps, modes, storytelling, that's where they want the creative to come from. So look, overall, I don't mind it. I do worry about like innovation as far as like, let's say if there's a feature that people like, what I'm saying? Like is the committee going to say, hey, we ain't going to put this in there. So it's still some things that remain to be seen. But overall, I do like quality or innovating modes, maps, and storytelling. I do love that part. So look, as long as the development cycle from a quality perspective is preserved and people get proper input, I'm for it. So I'm looking at the comments. For the most part, it seems positive because, again, I defer to the hardcore Call of Duty guys. I'm the casual. I come in here every 2-3 years, whatever. But I'm curious to see how they feel about the UI, the prestige, other stuff, as well as the maps and the storytelling and this committee and how that works. Well, how do you feel that after kind of seeing what this latest rumor is about the future of Call of Duty?
Yeah, I think I have mixed feelings about a committee. It's the problem with running a Call of Duty, a franchise like Call of Duty, because I don't know if there is a really good answer to having 3 developers sharing this IP and going annually and trying to innovate while also like, it's not like they can just copy paste and be like, hey, we made omnidirectional movement. Here you go, Sledgehammer. Put that in there and keep it. At least to my understanding, it doesn't seem that way. They always kind of, like, I think next year's Call of Duty is going to have a totally different movement system. I could be wrong. And so this committee kind of deciding what to hold and what to get rid of, there was actually a great reply. It was from a guy named Synth Potato, just to give credit because it's not my thought, but he did mention like, let's say the first World at War Zombies didn't like go through, then it's and like they're like you wouldn't have the very popular mode you have today. So
right.
Is this committee going to decide via popularity? Or is there going to be faith in certain mechanics, or like, okay, let this grow, let this become something? Because I think that's what like omnidirectional movement is. It's like, how do we evolve this now? Like this feels, anytime I pick up Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and I do play it, I'm just like, damn, this just feels so much better to just get around the map. Just being able to sprint in every direction is such a massive game changer. And so do they keep that? Do they not? It's a shame that the developers kind of get that taken out of their hands, but I also get it because now you kind of have some overhead that's saying, hey, focus on telling stories and making new exciting modes. We'll handle what features get into these games and you don't have to worry about that. But then sometimes like these modes are determined by features they can do and vice versa. So I'm a little mixed on it, but I think it can be pretty good. I think it can be. I'll stay on the side of optimism as I usually do. I think it can be pretty good. We'll see how it eventually pans out. But I think 4-year development cycle, letting them cook. The best news for that is I think hopefully multiplayer map design, which I didn't really get a vibe of in Black Ops 6. I won't lie.
Yeah. I know that was your main criticism.
But story, I in fairness have not played the Black Ops 6 campaign yet, but I have heard amazing things. And that it's way better, way more expansive. And that's what people were hoping for from like Modern Warfare 3 as they reused Warzone maps. Like you could see the blueprint of what could have been, although it was a ton of reused assets, an egregious amount. But you got the idea of like what could have been a more open, airy Call of Duty campaign. And so I feel like Black Ops 6 sort of realized that in a new, refreshing way with player choice at the center of it. So I'm glad that the story will start to get kind of almost into that Halo pocket of like the campaign matters, right? Like Halo is one of the few FPS games where the campaign really matters. And I think Call of Duty almost got away from that. But I think Black Ops 6 is like a statement of like, no, this shit matters a lot. So yeah, long-winded thoughts, but I think the 4-year dev cycle is good. The committee, I'll hold a verdict on if true. That's a very interesting way of going about things.
Yeah, no. And the last thing I will say is that I am curious with the committee aspect, with these 3 studios rotating and kind of doing a thing, is it like mentioning omnidirectional movie? Is it a situation where studios get to keep their flavor to themselves? Does that now propagate on other? There's a lot of questions still to be answered when someone has something innovative, and does that permeate the rest, or is it isolated? Hey, this is what makes us, and we're going to keep that. I'm very curious how that is handled.
For sure. So we'll see over time, but it looks like Xbox is doing some pretty good things with Call of Duty. They also, fortunately, did a good thing with S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 here. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 finding some great success. It's already sold 1 million copies as of its launch day. And then GSC Game World confirmed that many more players are found on Game Pass. So very excited about that. And then they announced a patch coming to S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, where they mentioned they're fixing crashes, main quest progression fixes, gameplay balancing like NPC behaviors or the price of weapons when upgrades are installed. Cutscenes and visual fixes are being brought in, soft lock fixes, UI improvements. But more importantly is the A-Life system, which is getting fixes. And that is what I'm holding out for. I'm hearing that this is the heartbeat of a S.T.A.L.K.E.R game, is sort of how the AI reacts to you later in the game and how they react to each other. And so I love the 15, 20-ish almost hours I put into S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. When I heard about this feature, I was like, let me stop and wait, because this sounds like a game changer. I want to finish it so I could do like a final verdict video and have it in consideration for my game of the year list, because I really do sincerely like it a lot. Like I don't know if it's top 5, but I could totally see this being top 10. But at the same time, I'm like, am I wrong for that? Because I'm waiting out for a big patch for a major feature. But it's good to see that I think people are giving GSC Game World the grace they deserve at the same time as being critical in the right areas and letting them kind of figure things out. And I'm glad they're enjoying a good launch. And I'm very happy S.T.A.L.K.E.R fans are happy with S.T.A.L.K.E.R itself. You just never know. And with these sorts of launches, again, I'm glad I did my research on S.T.A.L.K.E.R before punching in my review, because I think I would have done what a lot of other reviewers did, which I think is not understand what the S.T.A.L.K.E.R community expects from these games. It's literally Eurojank Bethesda Game Studios. And I was like, I get you all. You're my people. I am your champion. This is the man you were looking for. So yeah, I'm very happy for them. Very excited to play more when it gets a couple more fixes. And shout out to the team for some well-deserved success after everything they fought through to get this game out. Cog, any thoughts on S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, its sales, and its upcoming patches?
Yeah, man, this is so cool. Like, I didn't expect this because, again, with the climate of the games industry right now, and in fairness to people who critique the industry in the sense of like, hey, there's a lot of broken games out here. We got to push back at this, that kind of stuff. And to see the community for the most part say, look, we get that there are issues here, but we also understand the bigger picture. But what's most important is kind of like when I spoke to you and I spoke to Addict and I spoke to people who played it, like, there's a game here. Like, there's a fun game here. And I'm enjoying it. And I'll get into it a little bit later. But I'm just so, bro, I am impressed by this success. 1 million, that in 48 hours, 1 million?
Yeah.
Bro, that's super impressive. And it's not fully multiplied. It's PC and Xbox. And here's the thing. Just checked on Xbox a couple days ago. It was numbered in the top 20. I'm like, all right, that's impressive. Bro, I just checked right now. It's in the top 10 of Xbox played.
Good for them. Yeah.
Good. That is, man, for everything that studio been through, like, I am so happy. And to see them continue to put out patches, to sit there, okay, we're going to address stuff. Obviously, we know the conditions that the studio was made, under, and to see them kind of come through is really impressive. And I'm going to get into what you talked about in reference to that big patch in terms of my experience when we get into what I've been playing. Yeah. But I'm just happy, man. This is one of those feel-good stories for me personally.
Yeah.
And I was pulling for them, and they're such a nice team. I remember playing that game and I was like, ooh, got some issues. He's like, yeah, we're gonna take that feedback. We got you, guys. Like, it was understanding, but I'm very proud to see people enjoying S.T.A.L.K.E.R and actually say, hey, you know what? It's a great game here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what it is, man? It feels like in any other situation, a AAA game like this that comes out in the technical state it does, it just leads to a lot of fighting. I'm glad to see the S.T.A.L.K.E.R community kind of won people over with their charm of like, those aren't bugs, they're anomalies, and kind of just having fun with it. It honestly was one of my favorite game launches to kind of see. Like, it was really cool to see people just enjoying it for what it is, understanding the situation, assessing it fairly. I just feel like across the board, I was like, wow, that couldn't have gone better. Maybe it deserved a better score, I think, on like Metacritic, OpenCritic. I think it could have gone a little higher for Rafael Colantonio spoke out about that. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I did not.
Yeah, he was just like, it's unfair. Like, and like, I think here, I'll read his tweet because I don't want to paraphrase.
Tell me, break it
much.
down. What do you say?
But yeah, he was not pleased with the. Here we are. Rafael Colantonio said, the Metacritic ecosystem encourages devs to make safe, boring games. As long as a game is polished at launch, you're guaranteed an 80%, no matter how boring the game might be. Meanwhile, S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 gets a 73 because it's a bit rough around the edges at launch, unfair and misleading. So,
oh wow, I didn't know.
Yeah,
wow.
So he's been outside spitting a lot.
He's outside.
Yeah.
He's outside.
He's been outside spitting a lot. But I really respect that. And I think there's an element of truth to that. Like, I don't know if you're polished, you're guaranteed 80, but I get the idea behind encouraging developers to do safer things. So S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is very much unlike anything I've played this year or probably since Fallout. And there's not any other. And the reason Todd Howard said in his presentation of Fallout is like, there's nothing like Fallout, because it's true. But I was like, well, there might be something that's kind of right there, very similar. Very good game in S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. So check it out on Game Pass if you have yet to. Keep an eye out on these patches. That one I just read off is coming out next week.
Really cool.
All right, Cog. Square Enix wants Final Fantasy VII Remake on Xbox. This one comes from Naoki Hamaguchi in a recent interview with Gamesradar again. Quote, in terms of bringing Final Fantasy VII, there's really nothing we can say at the moment, but certainly I do want to bring Final Fantasy VII and the Remake series to as many players there as possible.
What that statement say? Can you repeat that? Because sometimes it seems to be a point of contention. I just wonder if you could repeat that.
In terms of Final Fantasy VII, there's nothing really we can say at the moment, but I certainly do want to bring Final Fantasy VII and the Remake series to as many players out there as possible.
So not just the pixel stuff, and so the big stuff too.
Yes, it seems like the big stuff there.
No, I'm glad. Thank you for clarifying.
What are your thoughts? Now that we're clear, what are your thoughts?
I could be a little messy sometimes.
Yeah. Well, actually, so there's one more thing.
Please.
There's one more thing here.
Get them all off.
It's so much more diversified now. So I think that's probably why our CEO, Mr. Takashi Kiryu, made the decision to move more in the direction of multi-platform. That's just the way the industry is going. As for Hamaguchi-san's own take on the matter, this is just personal opinion now, but I've got an Xbox myself, he said enthusiastically. I think it's a great hardware platform. I do like Xbox. Anthony Moto writes, and then I'll kick it to you, Cog. Sup, Dukes? Is it time to give Xbox their flowers today? An interview with Final Fantasy VII Remake co-director Hamaguchi came out, and one of the things he said was Square CEO Kiryu made the decision to go multi-platform because that's just the way the industry is going. Something Xbox leadership has been mocked for saying. Another thing is recently, like Xbox, Sony made it possible to stream PS games from the cloud to the PS Portal without the need of a PS5, which a lot of people said Sony wouldn't do because it devalues the PlayStation. So when will Xbox get credit for being the current visionaries they are? All right, Cog, to you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be a little messy here now.
Get dirty. Come on
now. I mean, look, shout out to Anthony Moto. He really encapsulated my messiness this week. Because it's just like, look, I get it. As far as the exclusivity window with Final Fantasy and how it's historically been, right? I can understand people say, yo, don't look like it's ever coming, man. So stop, right? And I get that. And historically, it felt that way. But we saw the signs. Like I said, we saw it all the way when they were out there on stage with Phil at a TGS. We saw the signs with the mercenary behavior starting to be quelled and now saying, hey, we need to get this out there. And the thing is, you're starting to see that pattern. I mean, you talked about, Manny, which is like companies and developers say, hey, that exclusivity bag is not worth eliminating multiple platforms. And we're in the era where PC is on the rise. Still have that Xbox user base. People can say, hey, Xbox is only... That's still 30-something million people to sell a game to. That companies like 30-something million to sell their game to. So I don't know what these people are telling me that it's not making sense they're talking about. Because you got that. And then guess what? There's this other company called Nintendo. Right? And they're right around the corner, right? And they're coming out with a new console, and I forget, aren't they close to 100? Because I know PlayStation 2 updated their to like 100. It's 160. Yeah, PlayStation 2 is fun. You get close. Hey, here's the new number, by the way.
I thought there was a so Twitter has that like AI feature where they kind of like hit you like trending topics and stuff, and it says like Sony claims 160 million sales on PlayStation 2. I'm like, that's gotta be a typo. I was like, why are they talking about the PS2? And then I put two and two together, and I saw it was actually the PS2. Oh,
it is like Nintendo. Relax. We still got the number one. I love it though. I love it. But at the end of the day, all I say to say is that you have that amount of Nintendo Switches out in the world, right? And we do know that it's the performance most likely is going to be of a PS4 and Xbox One level. People are going to want to put their games there. And it's about money. So I get the emotionality. I get that, you want to hold it, but this is where the industry is going. We have some signs now. So the idea that Xbox was off their rocker doesn't sound so crazy now because remember we talked about the what's our people the Pearl Abyss openly
Crimson
talking
Desert,
about they were openly talking about Crimson Desert and like, hey, it doesn't make sense for us. We talked about live service. It doesn't make sense for Bungie to say, hey, limit it to, just this platform. So that's where we are. And it is interesting. So for me personally, I like that he actually said the final point. I like that he actually said Rebirth by name. Yeah. Because prior to this, it was like, hey, we're going to bring more games, but you wouldn't say the game. Now you said it. So now we see. I guess my curiosity is, obviously we know they're making the next one. Is it going to be wait for the trilogy? Is it going to be, simultaneously? Like, how do you play catch up with the platforms that don't have the first one? I'm very curious how they handle that. Yeah,
because the assumption was like, hey, we can't get this until the trilogy's done, but Square Enix seems hungry to just get everything everywhere. A lot of companies are. Sega is another one. Get everything everywhere. Huge. Obviously, Xbox is the titan in that of getting everything everywhere. And it's just very interesting to assess because you have to wonder the rationale. It's like, okay, the exclusive bucks are running out. Is it because game development prices are going up and those normal exclusive contracts that they probably go through of like, you're going to get a lump sum plus this percentage of the game sales? Is that now like the profit margin shrunken down on that so much? Or is it we have a better chance out here with all of these different users? Because one thing we talked about last week, and I feel like it's got to be the latter, is any game can be exclusive. I look at S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, bro.
Yeah.
200K plus players at once. I look at Space Marines 2, 200K plus players at once. Just exploding onto the market, quick, easy million sales. And when you can kind of pop that by being available everywhere, we'll talk about layering in a second. Like they just announced crossplay, right? And I'm just like, oh, they're definitely their next announcement will be like, oh, we're on Switch too, like 100%, right? And now you're everywhere. Anyone can play at any point and do multiplayer with anyone. There's just such a higher ceiling, I think, at this point. It's just so strange to see a console manufacturer go in that direction. That is why Xbox was understandably criticized. And I think that won't, as much as I get where individuals like, let me get your name, Anthony, are coming from. I get it. I feel like it's not going to go away until a PlayStation or a Nintendo starts to act a little different, and that will be validating for Xbox because you're talking about a platform holder versus a third-party company no longer operating in exclusive capacity. It's not to take away from Xbox and that they did see something. You have to wonder, we had like those high unsustainable profit margins in the pandemic era. Is this a play to kind of crawl back to that success? Like, are we finding actual success now? But because projects are just not managed as well as they used to be because they didn't have to be as tight, now we have to go get the bigger bag. Those are some thoughts that go through my head. But nonetheless, I'm glad Square Enix is kind of going out there and saying Remake series and Xbox in the same sentence because something we've been criticized for. There's no way that
I've been
happens.
getting all the smoke. They
don't
like
way
me.
That happens.
I even mentioned it. He was like, it's never.
So looks like it's inevitable.
Down,
it's inevitable. It's just a matter of when. I don't think it's a matter of if. And I think at this point with Rebirth, it gets the PS5 Pro patch. Like if I'm Xbox, you and Square Enix, you probably wait for a moment. It can get a little bit of a pop. So what that announcement has to be to catch people up, I don't know. But
that's the question.
At least we have Crisis Core reunion, right? At least that's that.
That's it. The last thing I'll say is just, again, me personally was just talking more so about third party and, the philosophy there. I also liken it to like on the opposite side, in fairness, for balance with Xbox, in the sense of like you're seeing games like Rockstar and Grand Theft. They're not going to take a Game Pass, but look how much money you are potentially leaving off the table. You know what I'm saying? For an exclusive, and you have to look at all your metrics and I think that's what's happening here. People are really, breaking that down. And the other thing is in the staggered PC release is actually losing steam too. Like if you're not there in the zeitgeist, that's a huge opportunity missed. So that's what I'm seeing right now. I think that the gaps are closing.
I just think you can't. I don't want to sound like a broken record. You just can't afford to miss Steam. You can't afford to miss PC. Like that's so many consumers you're missing out on, and not just now, like at launch, but dude, Steam sales. That's so many sales. Like we're gonna get into some games that have high sales counts, and a lot of people look at it and go like, "Wow, that all of those were $60, $70." I'm like, no, most of those were through sales over time, and it's like by being everywhere where sales can happen. To sell a lot of copies. So get to that. First, though, Craig Duncan, is officially the new head of Xbox Game Studios. This is like in the kind of rumor mill, lightly reported based on, it was an article from Pure Xbox. They say on the Rare Twitter page today, we're celebrating Craig Duncan's tenure at Rare Limited. After 13 years and 10 months, our head honcho recently started his new role as head of Xbox Game Studios. We'll still see plenty of him, but he'll miss out on daily cake. Thanks for everything, Craig, from all of us. You rock. And it's him alongside the rest of the team. So we have a new head of Xbox Game Studios, meaning the former head that was of Turn 10 is out now. So, Cog, any thoughts on Craig Duncan stepping into this role? Because personally, I don't really have any. It's all about action right now. It's like, what's this man going to do?
No, look, I don't know Craig too much. I've seen him in passing. I've heard good things, though. I've heard a lot of good things. And we have to give credit where credit is due. Sea of Thieves is a new Xbox IP that literally transformed them, in terms of the engagement and how much they've done over there. What I say is this. What I will say, and I hope he can leverage, is I like the UK ties. Because I feel that's a region that needs the help. That's one thing we can say about Jim Ryan is he did well.
He was moving in Europe, bro.
Oh, he dominated Europe. So for me, that's what I would like to see. That the hope is there to see improvement there with UK studios and UK development and just getting more of a presence in that market. As far as the addition, from my understanding, he's going to take a lot of that role, but Matt Booty's still going to, I guess he's going to report to him and stuff like that to see that relationship synergistic. And ultimately, at the end of the day, all I care about is the regime and the quality of the games in said regime. That's all that matters. So when these games release, the Avoweds and the South of Midnights and the Fables and the Clockworks and, all that stuff, what do they land at? That's what and to me, that's the judgment. That's how I judge you. So I think things are looking up for them though in 2025. I feel really good about the, what we've seen and the things we've heard so far.
Don't speak too soon on that. This is just you never know, bro. You never know what they're gonna pull out of their pocket.
Yeah.
All right, Cog. What we have up next here is a fun one. It's Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth Wukong is apparently getting some surprises this year. This comes from director Feng Ji, where he stated during the Golden Joysticks Awards that Black Myth Wukong won Game of the Year, and he said during his acceptance speech that, quote, there might just be some surprises waiting for you later this year, end quote. Insider Gaming writes, some have jumped to the conclusion that the announcement could be a port for the Xbox platform, which is entirely possible. G's comment of a surprise came after he said, quote, you players might have already completed our game, end quote, suggesting the surprise is for those who have already played. Of course, an Xbox announcement is entirely possible, but G said that it was coming later this year, likely suggesting the Game Awards. So, Cog, what are our thoughts? Are we feeling bullish about Black Myth Wukong coming to Xbox?
Yeah, I think it's time. I think this is going to be similar to like what they did last year, where they'll have their layer in Baldur's Gate moment. I could see a scenario where they come out on stage and announce either his credit, the developer's credit, does sound like they have some additional content, because he said for players who finished the game or completed, almost alluded to players who've completed it. So maybe this is the time you talk about said expansion or said new content in conjunction with, oh, by the way, here is the Xbox release. So I could see that. To me, the Game Awards is perfect. And we know the Game Awards likes
it does.
Companies like that. Yeah. That's all I was saying.
Physical edition comes out December 12th. So timing is also pretty great there. It's a day before. So, yeah.
Oh, things seem to be lining up.
Yeah. So I feel like it's going to be just additional content personally.
Yes.
But
yeah.
Next up, Cog, we've got some announcements from CD Projekt Red. The Witcher 4 has entered full production. Cyberpunk 2077 has been confirmed to have sold 30 million copies, and a new animated Cyberpunk show is on the way. Cog, we do have a write-in for The Witcher 4, but is there any place you in particular want to start with this subject?
I'm a new animated, bro. I love Edge Runners, so let's go. I like them in that space.
Yeah, that it's amazing what context with a track can do, right? Because the track that gets forgetting the name of it, but it's the one that puts everyone in the feels, right? It's the feels track with the moon and everything. So that track was already in the base game, and I and many other people kind of didn't notice it, but then you put it in context with like those moments in the show, and when that song hits on the radio, you're like, I'm not getting out of my car yet. Not yet. Even though now they have the radio, so you could hear it outside of your car, but still, just man, what a track, what a show. Very excited about that. Were you surprised to see Cyberpunk 2077 has sold 30 million copies in its lifetime thus far? A little 4 years after launch, we know Phantom Liberty pushed 5+ million units sold. So I mean, the resurgence is strong, and I know the game made its money back at launch, which was like I think 8 million copies sold. So really 22 since it actually fully came out onto the market. What are our feelings on that? I was pretty surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I know most of those sales had to have come during like remember it was $10 and people were like picking it up like, oh, when it gets fixed, sure. I feel like a lot of those sales were then. I could be wrong. But yeah, dude, that it's crazy to see how Cyberpunk 2077 has come back in such a strong way that it sold that many copies. That might be more than like anything The Witcher's even seen. So
yeah, bro, like that's insane. I mean, we know the history here. This was an absolute PR disaster for them. Most companies don't survive this. So this is the comeback story. And to their credit, they were resilient enough to take all the feedback, add the systems 2.0, and then come back with the Phantom Liberty. But I personally feel that anime saved them.
Oh, yeah, dude. That was the start. That was really the start. Their updates were good, but they were not catching traction until that anime said, okay, I want more of this and I want to try this.
That Edge, I never forget, because that Edge runner, I was so cooled off on Cyberpunk. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. Okay, you're coming out with some patch, whatever. But I remember I was out there, I think it was at PAX West, and I think they reached out. They were like, hey, we're doing an anime thing. And I begrudgingly went. I was like, all right, I got some time. Let me see. I'm like,
wow,
was this fire? Like, and I'm like, it was so in tune with the universe. I got the fever. I want to play Cyberpunk right now. Like, I that's what I saw the effect of transmedia. That synergy when you have a great show, and you're like, I want to play. And we see the effects with a Fallout, right?
Yep.
People running into Fallout 76 like it's the hottest thing. It's like, bro, that's the power. And I feel the timing of that, and it was high quality. I forgot the name of the studio that did it. I think Attic was telling me they're high quality. And I was like, yeah. And then they did it perfect because you had Xbox, take note. They had Edge Runners, then they had the 2.0, and then boom, Phantom Liberty right there. Hey, it would be nice now that you got a Fallout show that's popping. Yeah. Have something ready. You see the resurgence. Now, granted, in Xbox's defense, yes, they've already got a resurgence with Fallout games right now because of the show. But man, it would be even better if you had some new content ready to go, you know what I'm saying, for the joint. So that's just me. But yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I feel Edge Runners was the turnaround, baby. But as far as Witcher 4, yeah, to Neil's question, man, look, man, I mean, that's their baby. That's kind of what they were known for. Just my thing is get that combat tighter for me. You know what I'm saying? Just a little tighter. And other than that, you know, Geralt is the man. So I don't have really too much to say. Their side quests are better than some people's games. Like their expansions, like Blood and Wine and all that stuff. Like CD Projekt Red does that. So all I care about is the visuals and the combat and it being serviceable. And they can give me pretty much a similar product than what they did last time. And I am personally good. So.
Yeah. For me, yeah, when it comes to The Witcher 4, we do have this writing from Neo JD. He says, Project Polaris, aka The Witcher 4, is finally in full production. What would you guys like to see improved upon for this one? Thanks, and have a Cog's arms are bigger than all the turkeys on Thanksgiving kind of day. Very true indeed. I gotta kind of steal Cog's answer. For me, it really is the combat. I love the Witcher stories, but I have tried to go back to 3 so many times, and I just can't. I just can't do it. I don't know what it's not bad. It's just annoying would be the right word. I know people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, what did he just say?" And I get it. It's definitely a colder take, but I think it's the preparation it requires when it also kind of wants to have a flow. It kind of reminds me of free flow combat a little bit, like how you kind of dance and string attacks together with different enemies. But just the preparation that goes into some of the fights, I wasn't huge on. I like a little more rhythm and flow. That's why I think Cyberpunk worked for me, because Cyberpunk was more like you have like quick hacking and you have like a little bit of a Watch Dogs feel to it, and you have all these different gun types, and there's still like it's a first person shooter at the end of the day. And I feel like for a third person action game, Cyberpunk was lacking a little bit on the action side of things. So I want to give it another try for a full playthrough at some point, maybe in like Witcher 4 is coming out in like 2 months. Let me dive into Witcher 3 again. But for now, I feel like it's tapped out for me. You know, I played the game twice, so that's also it. But I cannot get back into it quite like I once did. Unfortunately, Cog, we do have some studio shutdowns to get into this week as well. They're both from OG Mass Effect leads. The first one is Casey Hudson's Humanoid Origin studio. Mind you, there have been 3 Mass Effect leads, or sorry, BioWare leads, I should use that term more broadly, BioWare leads that have gone out, made their own studios, AAA titles, to try to basically replicate Mass Effect. That was Archetype Entertainment with James Olin and Drew Karpyshyn. We have Humanoid Origin, that is with Casey Hudson, the former like director at BioWare, and then Developer Worlds Untold, which is Mac Walters, who's was a producer and the lead of the Legendary Edition for Mass Effect, but he was at BioWare for I think like 20 years. So all of these OGs have left. Right now, the last one standing is Archetype with Exodus. And it seems like they're making a big gameplay announcement in the coming weeks. At least that is my prediction based on what they've been saying. However, Casey Hudson shares, according to this IGN article here, that in a LinkedIn post, he says, "We're heartbroken that we will not be able to bring our new science fiction universe to completion. Our main concern at this time, however, is for our team, and we are committed to supporting them in their transition to new employment. In our time together, the team achieved incredible progress and demonstrated that it's possible to do amazing work while fostering a culture of fun and creativity. We thank them for their talent, courage, and friendship. This was due to an unexpected shortfall of funding despite efforts to shield the studio from broader challenges in the industry. And this was a studio that was only erected in June of 2021. Meanwhile, developer Worlds Worlds Untold, I keep saying their name wrong, has a mildly better situation here. Mac Walters, former producer of Mass Effect, says they're pausing operations just a year after being founded. This is also in a post on LinkedIn where they call it a very difficult decision. Quote, it's hard to find the right words for this, but just wanted to share that we made the very difficult decision to pause operations at Worlds Untold while we search for a new partner to help bring our vision to life. This is not a decision we made lightly, but it's deeply personal journey. And we're also proud of everything this team has built together, end quote. Worlds Untold has been working on a AAA action adventure game since it was founded, but NetEase pulled the funding due to current marketing conditions, or market conditions, not marketing, sorry. Dude, as someone who's looking for funding for their game soon, scary times. Scary times.
How you feeling, man?
Yeah.
It's tough to read.
Yeah.
This is world-class talent. I mean, where do I start? Casey, man. I mean, this is literally the director of two of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah.
KOTOR, Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Shout out to have one of the best perm mullets in the game. Remember,
Yeah.
he used to come out with the perm
Excellent
mullet?
look, man. Yeah. Excellent.
That man made that thing work, man. Party in the back.
Yes, sir.
Like, he's a legend. I don't care. We would not have any Casey slander, man. I love Casey Hudson. Man, that's just tough. My thing is, I talk in fairness. I usually talk about the circle of life and how, like, people break off and then they start their own thing, stuff like that. But we are seeing some signs in this climate right now. It is tough. It's still tough right now to get things going. And then in terms of Mac and his team, as far as Worlds Untold, NetEase likes to support. So for them to pull out, I'm just curious as far as they said it was obviously not an easy decision for them to get away from the project, but they had market conditions required them to reassess. I think for me, unless the pitch or whatever you saw was, just not coming together, that's one thing. Then I'm like, okay, it's just not coming together, guys. I get that. But it's just shocking to me with these minds, right, that they wouldn't be able to put something together that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm pulling for them, man. I just wish that either, hey, Xbox could always use the talent.
A lot of people were like, Casey Hudson, go back to BioWare. I was like, dude, are you fucking for real? This guy's escaped BioWare twice now. You think he wants to fucking go back? Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
I don't see him coming back. Like, you try to leave that many times.
Yeah.
At some point, that relationship's broken and they want to do their own thing. So, the hope is that, if they could just latch on, to something existing, if they not ready to start something on their own that requires the funding. Until the meantime, my thing is I just want them around in the industry from a sustainability standpoint. But of course, it's up to them. People are visionaries. Sometimes they just want to do their own thing. But all I'm saying, it would suck if, as a result of the climate in the industry, we lose them. That's the thing I'm worried about the industry. We're bleeding talent because we can't afford to make it, and we can't. And now it's like, oh, talent gone. That's what I'm worried about. These guys should be working somewhere, or someone should be hopefully giving them a bag. Again, in fairness to the publisher, provided the quality is good, or at least exciting. Because I'm the worst thing, if I don't know this stuff and people are like, yo, God, we saw the game, it was not it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then I can't defend that, right?
Yeah.
But the hope is that it is it, and that they need a shot.
It's interesting to see that it is these kind of surrounding former BioWare talents that are having these issues, just because for all the criticism BioWare gets, I do think Gary McKay came in and made some tougher decisions that needed to be made at BioWare that someone like Casey Hudson, who was the former GM at BioWare, was not making, and it was leading to a lot of bad issues within that team. And
Can you give me an example? I didn't even know.
So
you know one?
So when it came to Casey Hudson, when he was leading that team, there was obviously like bloated teams. There was bad creative direction. It was during the phase of like an Anthem, Dragon Age, post Dragon Age Inquisition, I believe he was there for Andromeda. I will double check because I don't want to spread misinformation, but he was a step in. He was a fill in, and the situation did not get better while he was there. There were Jason Schreier reports on it while he was there, and it's not like anything was personally saying like Casey Hudson's a shitty person. There was none of that. It was more I wonder if there is a kind of this is a bright mind, but maybe not a great leader kind of moment. You got to wonder. And I'm sorry, I know it's kind of insensitive, but like you got to wonder when there's a consistent kind of thing we're seeing here with him involved. You know, and his ability to manage. At the same time, there's much more complicated things going on in the industry. So it could be other things because for Mac Walters to also have his team lose funding. Here's what I can say. Just, you know, look, I've been doing this for really 4 years and I'm in a very different position from any other AAA developer. So that's why I only share this sort of insight in that I feel very lucky to be at where I am, where through people's support, through like the channel and this show and Patreon, all these different things, I'm able to invest the funds I get into people who are willing to, might I add, take not typical industry rates to work on this game with hope for a brighter future. And I think that kind of grassroots approach to studio building, I don't want to say it's necessary because, you know, it's my first time going around the horn like this. I'm learning a lot as I go, as are all my teammates, and it's been an enlightening process. But I only say it because by the time we get to this pitch, because we've worked on this game on our own for so long, it is at the point where it's like, you know, our budget and our ask of a publisher is going to be significantly less risky compared to where we were 2 years ago. Completely different outlook now. And I say all that because when you see a team lose funding after a year, it's like that first year is the toughest, man. It really took us until 2022 to get a pipeline going. We started in 2020, like August 2020, just sort of ideating ideas on paper, basic functionality. Can we walk? Can we interact? Can we talk? That sort of shit. That stuff goes slow, dude. Very slow. And our team has gained momentum because we're all getting better. So we're getting things done quicker. Like we were working on a VFX system for something in our game. And my programmer was like, it'll take me 6 months. It took him a month. And it's fully functional now. Nice. That's like the difference now is like we create these big windows and then it's unbelievable. Like he's unbelievable how quickly he gets it done. Now, that was only possible because we were afforded all of this time to get our pipeline going and to really develop good relations, good communication. That was something we struggled with a lot until we finally got like a lot of meetings going. And now we have like our team meetings, team lead meetings, program meetings. And I'm in meetings often, but it's been so good for getting things going and being on the same page. And that stuff took us years to figure out, right? Yeah. So I sympathize with these new studios starting up. And I don't want it to come across like I was laying the blame solely at Casey's feet. Again, I just want to identify something I'm seeing as a trend, but more so that when people say game development is tough, I think through my experience, I can say at least that's what I point to. It's like the things that you think would be easy and that you think don't need explanations actually do. Right. Now, this is a new developer talking versus veterans who have done this for a while. So their situation is wildly different. But I still thought that insight might help some people kind of get a glance behind the curtain as like what that's like. And at least in my experience, I feel like we're in a good spot where it's like, yeah, I look at funding getting pulled and that's like my worst nightmare is like we put so much of our heart into this, man. Like we're almost there. We just need a little more help to get across to that finish line. And we'd love to do it alongside someone else. And kind of like level up what we're doing and get a couple extra hands on board. Like that sort of funding is what we're looking for. You know, I think we can do it with the team we have now for sure. I have all the confidence in the world, but you look at that situation and it's like very different from we're doing we as in like your Mac Walters or Casey Hudson, we're doing like a 20, 30, $40 million project where our game is fucking peanuts in comparison. You could take a flyer on us and be like, oh, damn, we got an indie darling here. This thing did really well for us. All right, let's run it back. Cool. Like, how much? Oh, you need a couple more of that? Sure. You know, like, that's the difference. So they're taking big risks by leaving, going independent, and then going back to making the style of game that they made under a corporate structure with millions and millions of dollars flowing into it. So I don't know. I just felt that was important insight. If I could give any at all, again, we're independent developers, so it's not like a true level of knowing what these teams are going through. But again, my goal as I was getting more and more instances is like, I want to peel the curtain back where I can and be like, here's what it's like. Here's our thoughts.
Yeah,
And
it's
like,
the
here's our
real.
feelings. And once we hopefully deliver something, it'll have a lot more weight to it. But these are kind of things that were going through my head when I saw this. I feel really bad for them, man. Like, it's got to be, because we're so deep into it. I'm like, I would be devastated, especially on a personal investment level. The amount of like forsaking my future, financially speaking, like
sacrifices,
just literally massive sacrifices personally all over the place. Time spent away from family, friends, and to lose all of that, it's like I would be devastated. So my heart goes out to these two teams and anyone going through that, man. It's tough.
Yeah, that's why, I try to be as empathetic to, I'm very pro developer for that reason, because of the sacrifices that I've made. But it's just like, like you made great points. And I think it's so many features here. Obviously, we talked about the elephant in the room, which is the funding, right?
Yeah.
And how much people can believe in your product to get it off the ground and to get across the finish line. We talk about leadership, right? Because again, you can have all these talented individuals, but if there's bad leadership up top, that plays a factor. I worry about scope. How big is the game? It's going to, how much you're trying to include. And then that leads into feature creep. There's so many factors that, people forget, man. Making games is extremely difficult, and these are some of the best minds, and they're having, these issues. So it's tough out here. And that's why I always try to be empathetic with, when we coming at developers extra, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like, not that no one is free from criticism. That's not where I'm going at. But what I'm trying to say is that I think that people still don't understand how difficult the process and all these variables that come together, and sometimes last minute. We've already had, remember our man, the great, what is it, Mark Dara, right?
Yeah.
Some of the last minute stuff comes together too. So it's tough,
Metaphor is a great example. So I previewed Metaphor in August. August. And one thing I noticed in that game at that point in the build was when I started combat, let's say you had a group of 3 enemies in an area in front of you and you'd hit one of them, you'd fight them. There'd be like 4 at once. You'd fight them all. You'd get out of the battle and then the other 2 would still be there. And I remember saying in my preview, I was like, this is really weird. Like, I feel like once I fight one, it should kind of gather them all up in front of me and make a bigger battle out of it and they'll all go away. One of my favorite things about Metaphor, we'll talk about in a little bit, is like, that is how it is now. Like, and you don't fight rooms of enemies back to back to back to back to back. But that was definitely, just based on my preview versus the final product, a last minute choice that, I don't know how old this build was, but that was definitely a last minute choice of some kind to make sure that made the final cut. And it was a small difference, but it's just like the story of adding Sonic with the rings. You can't imagine Sonic without the rings. But that was like, I think the week before, they're like, fuck it, go for it. And literally it is his defining feature. So it's, you're right. The last minute choices, huge when you're in that final stretch, man. I always say game development is a lot of just, it's literally, are you a good problem solver? That's all it is. If you think about it that way, I think it makes a lot more sense. You're always solving problems. And different people are better or worse at solving problems.
Solving it, yeah.
Yep. Because you always want to find the cheapest solution that doesn't sacrifice player experience.
Good point.
Cheap on time, cheap on money, as often as you can. But who am I? I have nothing out there yet, so I shouldn't talk too much.
Soon though.
Baldur's Gate 3 profit insights. You know me. When the money starts flowing in this industry, Maddie's gonna get talking here. I like to see what's going on, how much money are these companies making, because I think it depicts future outlooks.
I do always ask that on interviews. You'd be like, yo, so what about the financial part?
I love it because I'm trying to advocate. You know how you always hit the FPS? I'm always asking about the money, right? I'm just like, because I'm like, how are you budgeting it out? How much did you make? How does this change the outlook of your studio? And we have this article from IGN here. It says, according to a paywalled report by the Irish Independent, Larian posted a 249 million euro, or approximately 260.9 million US dollars pre-tax profit for 2023, which included the August release of Baldur's Gate 3. Revenue for the year hit $447.5 million. Now, Larian has never indicated a sales figure for Baldur's Gate 3, although the publishing director, Michael Dowse, indicated in February that the game had sold well over 10 million copies, and Hasbro, the parent company of Dungeons & Dragons owner Wizard of the Coast, said in March that Baldur's Gate 3 had earned its $90 million due to its licensing deal with Larian. The Irish Independent reported that Baldur's Gate 3 has sold around 15 million copies and paid out 28 million euros dividend this year as a result. Larian's bumper 2023 financial results are in stark contrast to the company's 2022, which saw a loss of 224 $23,000 off the back of just a $23.7 million in revenue a year. Baldur's Gate 3's wild success then was a game changer for Larian, and that's without taking into consideration the ongoing sales for Baldur's Gate 3 that is pulled in 2024, with Douse saying that Baldur's Gate 3 has 20% more active daily users this year than last, with mods helping fuel seemingly never-ending interest in the RPG. And then Vinky, the director of the studio, told IGN in September that the success of Baldur's Gate 3 meant Larian was now in a luxurious position and could pick our own destiny and path. So, Cog, the money's there. $500 million almost off of Baldur's Gate 3 compared to the year before. You go from making $22 million to $400 some odd million. Holy shit, what a life changer that is for them, man. Good for them. Well-deserved success there. And now this is the problem solving I'm talking about. Okay, they open up a new studio. They're investing. These projects have to be on track. What are they going to do? I remember Swen saying at one point, he was like, yeah, when we were doing Baldur's Gate, it was that IP, Arcanum, Fallout. Saying, Phil, the phone. Pick it up, bro.
Pick up the phone.
Come on. Anyway, Cog, what do you think of what's going on here with Baldur's Gate 3? And also, sorry, I forgot to mention, patch 8 got revealed, the final, supposedly final patch for Baldur's Gate 3, adding in 12 new subclasses, which is ridiculous, adding in camera settings like a photo mode, and last but not least, from our man Lord Cognito, crossplay is here. So with that, Cog, what do we feel about Larian, the profits, the success they've enjoyed, and patch 8, and what it brings to the table?
I was one of the few that only gave Larian some smoke.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, Larian. Did y'all cross
You're right.
progression?
Yeah.
Yep.
That, and I think Act 3 was a little more buggy than people gave it credit for.
Yes. Nobody wanted to talk about it. But I had to get at him. But I loved it. You know, they got ahead of the cross-platform thing with the patch. And now we're going to get the cross-play, which is huge. You know what I'm saying? And getting everyone involved. But look at the amount of features they're adding. You know what I'm saying? 12 classes.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed, you know. And this is a game they easily could make an expansion for if they chose. But it seems like they're comfortable with it. I'm shocked. I'm shocked by this. Yeah, good for them. They're confident. Look, I'm just so happy to see the explosive growth that they're having. This is insane financial growth, and also with the D&D community, how that's affected that. They talked about that licensing deal and stuff like that. This is impressive stuff. They are the people's champ. Like, they are literally, you know, what is it? The game was in, I want to say, like, testing for so long, and they waited, and then, you know, they put this thing out. And I tell people all the time, like, when it comes to conversations, when it comes to that dialogue interaction from a graphical standpoint, from a choice standpoint, they are world class right now. You know, it's there. Like, when we play other games, we're like, yeah, you gotta mention the Larian standard right now. I had to get Obsidian to talk about it. I had to talk about it with Bethesda. You know, they are the champ right now. We have to give it to them. So look, this is dope. I'm very curious to see where they go with the next situation, because there's so many options. And, you know, it seems that they take a very measured approach as far as how they move. So yeah, it just seems like they're going to do the right thing. So I'm pulling for them, man. This is really, really cool.
It feels like a very deliberate attempt from their studio to not go Hollywood. Like, that is, I feel like I feel like they saw that bank account and they were like, quick, everyone, don't lose your fucking minds. Just keep it cool.
Because usually it's the opposite. It's all right, now we're going to go super bigger. We're making 3 more IPs. We're doing, like, usually go, and not that there's nothing wrong with that, but, you know, sometimes we've seen that has not worked out for some.
No,
you know, I remember
too big, too fast.
Too big, too fast. I remember Telltale. Remember when Telltale was all the talk of the town?
Yeah.
Bro, then the licenses was coming in, and the Cillian games, and we saw how that played out. So, I kind of like this measured success and just rock it out. So yeah, good for them.
Words of Phil, sustainable success, right? There you go. Phil the prophet. Speaking of money, Balatro has made a lot of money. According to new data, Balatro has generated approximately $4.4 million on just its mobile version, Pocket Pair, which obtained the data via AppMagic, revealed new data. This is from Insider Gaming. According to the data, Balatro generated $1 million in its first week, and following a spending surge last week, that number quickly rose to $4.4 million. And keep in mind, this was a game that was just nominated for Game of the Year. Balatro was first released in February 20th, 2024, and saw a huge success on launch, generating $1 million in its first 8 hours of release. It sold 250,000 units in its first 3 days and 500,000 copies in its first 10 days. In August 2024, it was announced that the game had sold 2 million copies, and the game has received, as we all know, universal acclaim. And I have yet to try it out. There's a couple of indie gems I got to hit up this year. Gene was telling me about another one. Have you heard of Mouth Watching?
No.
It is.
Really?
My friend played it too. He's like, it is an incredible game. And
Really?
it's like a horror game. Apparently it's like a horror visual novel style game. It's like 3 hours. Gene literally said, buy it blind. Don't even look at the Steam page. They just buy it blind. I'm like, I don't know what the hell this is, dude.
I'm looking at it. It looks crazy.
But apparently it is like really taking over. And this just came out a few weeks ago, or like 2 months ago, I think, something like that. Like, it's a very recent release, man. So I haven't played that yet. Balatro is another one I want to try out and see like if I can lose my life to that and just see what the buzz is. I have a friend who I recommended it to blindly because he was like, I'm looking for a game to play. I was like, I've heard Balatro's good. I know nothing about it, but try it out. So, Cog, what do we make of Balatro? $4.4 million, mobile version, finding insane success everywhere it goes. The publisher of this game is PlayStack. They're behind games like Abiotic Factor, which is an early access on Steam and is actually pretty decent. Mortal Shell Enhanced Edition, just for some games people might recognize there. But Cog, any thoughts here on Balatro? And have you played this game?
I have not. Saul was the one that put me on game last week. He broke the whole thing down. He was like, I'm telling you, like, this thing is insane. I had no idea what it was about, the premise. And I just know that right now the awards are speaking for itself because everyone is raving about this game. So yeah, I got to try it, see what's going on here. The surge is insane. Like, and then from my understanding, it is mobile only, right?
No, it's on everything. Xbox.
So now it's on everything. But it initially,
Switch.
Okay. So, but did it initially start mobile?
Yeah.
I'm curious about the origins.
Sorry. I thought you said it originally started console. No, it originally started, I think, console.
Okay. I stand corrected. But yeah, man. Nah, this is.
I think it started PC. Could be wrong.
PC. Okay. Yeah, because it says I know the article from Henderson says that it's generated approximately 4.4 million on mobile. So I was just curious, as far as the starting point of the game. That's all. I'm curious about. But it's everywhere now.
First released on Steam, PlayStation 4 or 5, Xbox, all versions, Switch, and then a mobile version was released September 26th. So in that time period, they have made $4 million from just that alone. And 3.4 of that million, it seems, came in the last week.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. Imagine that. Like, that's like a $15 card game. And they're just like,
I got to get this thing a shot. I've never played it.
Yeah. I'm like scared, dude, though. Because I'm just like,
I know, like the addiction.
I uninstalled League of Legends because I'm like, I'm trying to focus on just single player games. As you'll see, what we're playing is just one frigging game. I'm trying to narrow the focus. I'll get into it a little bit, but I'm like, Balatro's the type of game that's I feel like it's gonna divert my attention. So, Cog, last bit of news here. We'll get into what we're playing. Top 20 best-selling games for October in the United States here. Let's go down the list. Number 1, Black Ops 6. Number 2, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Number 3, Silent Hill 2. Number 4, Undisputed. Number 5, Metaphor Refantasio. Number 6, Dragon Age Veilguard, which does crack the list despite, before people dunk on it, it released on the final day of the month, to be fair. Number 7, Super Mario Party Jamboree. Number 8, Madden NFL 25. Number 9, Sonic X Shadow Generations. Number 10, EA Sports FC 25. Number 11, College Football 25. 12 is Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. 13, Hogwarts Legacy finds itself here. I didn't see that my first pass through here. 14, NHL 25. 15, Astrobot. 16, Minecraft. 17, NBA 2K25. 18, Life is Strange Double Exposure. 19, Final Fantasy 1 through 6 bundle. And 20, Elden Ring. Kyle, anything stand out to you here?
Yeah. First of all, let's get some shout outs. Obviously, the dominance of Black Ops, not surprising. You know what I'm saying? But it's a quality one. It's Black Ops is going to do. Call of Duty going to do what Call of Duty do. Dragon Ball Zero, that is a phenomenon in the fighting space right now. That is a phenomenon. I'm a little worried about my Tekken winning an award with this thing, the way it's been moving.
No, Tekken's a way better fighting game, bro. Way better.
But I worry about the popularity of you damn Wii.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair. I get it. But I'm in your corner, bro. I think Tekken slaps the shit out of Sparking Zero.
I do too, but I mean, I got Addict playing fighting games, talking about he playing Dragon Ball. Like, I'm like, bro, you don't even like fighting games, but as soon as it's your content, here he go. I'm worried about his demographic, man. I'm worried. They gonna steal the thunder from my baby.
It should be really Tekken's like head and shoulders above all fighting games this year.
You're talking with common sense in the gameplay. I'm worried about is the new Dragon Ball joint that everybody's always wanted.
Very anime, like crashing through buildings. God, come on.
We'll see what happens at the Keigleys. We'll see. But we got that. Obviously, Silent Hill 2. Undisputed is big, because it's just boxing. You know what I'm saying? Boxing.
I didn't realize it was this big.
Yeah. I'm shocked at this because we played it earlier and King had a lot. King was so like one thing about King, like, he ain't got no problem telling you when he do not like something about your game. Like, he was so hard on this. I felt bad. I was like, ooh, I don't know if I would have said that. He's like, yeah, your punches, that's not it. He was going in. But the guy, to his credit, took all the feedback. He said, I see what you're saying. King was getting on them about because King is the boxing aficionado. He's like, what's going on with the divisional license? How you got this one, but you don't got that one? And then the guy was breaking it down. Like, he was on them. To see that they took a lot of the feedback, obviously they can't do too much with the licensing, but they took the majority of it. I'm hearing really good things. I did hear some stuff online, some stuff, the way people play is a little weird, but to see it doing what it's doing, show that there's still that love for boxing. And of course, I'm here for my metaphor, baby.
Yeah.
I'm here for my metaphor at number 5. It's a beautiful thing to see Atlas get that love, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. And I'm glad you called out the whole Vanguard thing, which is, that was only one day. That thing came out, Halloween, right?
Yeah.
One day it's number 6. So we'll see what it is next month. But I think it goes to show you, that regardless of the controversies or things surrounding the game, that people still, for the most part, bought it. So I'm curious where it lands. I'm so curious next about where it lands. And last thing, shout out to my man Robert Kelly. He got his Sonic Shadow Generation, which I gotta play. That's been gifted to me. I gotta get going on that, and that was in number 9 in the top 10. So that's a really good performer for that. I was wishing it'd be a little bit higher, but I have to also reel myself in and go, look, it's a remaster, and for it to be in the top 10 of like the most competitive month of the year, pretty good. For it to get beat out by Madden stuff, if Sonic X Shadow Generation sold 1 million copies in its launch week, that means that Madden sold over 1 million copies in October, and I guess the heat of the NFL season really does that. Yeah. So it's crazy to think about with those numbers in mind. That means that means that over 1 million people then bought another Mario Party game. Like, come on! Like, is it not enough? Like, what's new with this Mario Party? Someone explain it to me, because I saw it. I was like, yeah, I had like 18 of those when I grew up. We're good. Oh, Hogwarts still.
Yeah, good for them.
Still.
Well, it's because rumor, maybe not because of, but the rumor of that DLC coming probably prompted people to be like, let me give it a shot.
Right? Did they announce it officially yet or not yet?
No, but it's been leaked a bunch of times.
It's been leaked. Okay, gotcha.
Apparently it's going to be like a bigger expansion. I don't know. I mean, that's what Insider Gaming was saying. We trust in our man, Tom. So
yeah, Tom getting it. He gets the ball.
Tom Henderson gets the scoops, yeah. All right, Cog, that's it for the news for now. Let's get into what we're playing. You have a much bigger list than me. So as always, let's hear from you first.
These will be pretty short for reasons. All right, so obviously I started S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. I want to shout out some Inside, man. I was with Brad and Locke, and shout out to Locke. He really gave a lot of insight on S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Oh my God, he did a comprehensive breakdown. So first of all, my short experience with the game is, I didn't know what to expect. I've never played a S.T.A.L.K.E.R game before. I came into it like, all right, I know it's not Call of Duty, and I know it's not, this run and gun, But the thing that really impressed me is how much tension and horror the game gives me. Like every little corner, and it almost has a live service aspect to it in the sense of like, when you play a live service game, like you searching the body, doing stuff, like it's going on around you. Like it ain't like you ain't pausing the game and then the enemies are going to respect you in your pause menu. No, it's going, you'll get your head pinched off out here. And like just doing, I did have a bad bug though with the
I'm sure
the sensor,
yeah.
And I'm like, bro, where's this anomaly? I'm running through pools of puddles, like, yeah, like, bro,
just throwing your bolts.
I'm just throwing it. I'm just like, what's going on, man? So I didn't like that, S.T.A.L.K.E.R, but the tension of just having I couldn't take out, the big boy. I had the little pistol and I'm running around. I'm like, where is it? And you just feel, this game makes you feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
One thing I would say, this is definitely a PC game.
Yeah.
Like moving in the menus is literally like some dragging and dropping type energy. Like it's very archaic. You can tell this is PC all the way. What I do like though is the survival aspects. Shout out to my man Connor Reese, lordsofgaming.net. He got great 5 tips. First of all, HDR users, don't make the mistake. OLED users, please do your settings and change that, because this game is dark. When you go into a sewer, you go into a dark, you cannot see. You better press that flashlight.
Yeah.
You better. But what I like is when you press that flashlight, you risk other people knowing where the hell you at and the drama.
I made that mistake. I think I said it last week, but I made that mistake. I was like, why can they see me in the dark? My headlamp is literally on in the middle of the night. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Hey guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I love that ultra realism, that grit. Yep. And the thing that really makes it dope is like, resources are limited. Everything that you come across is premium stuff, and you got to be smart on how to utilize stuff. So I like, one of the underrated features though I like is going over to a body, going over to a gun, and then unloading the bullets out the gun, and then just taking those bullets as opposed to carrying the whole gun. And you got like 3 versions of a gun on you. You could just kind of resource siphon the bullets. I like the survival aspect, bro. You get some food. That boy popping that can of tuna with the knife. You know what I'm saying? You feel
bro. Yeah, that tuna eating animation, like you see the knife kind of going into it and stuff. I'm like, damn, that feels real. Like
it's such a real nice touch. And then, you got your hunger systems, you got your radiation system. I'm like, all right, Stalker, you may got me here. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting into it. I'm telling Locke how much I'm loving it. Locke gave me the best advice ever. He's like, Cock, stop. I'm loving it. Stop. I'm like, why? He was like, bro, if you like it now, you're not playing Stalker. I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, bro, what you mentioned earlier, it's A-Life, some feature called A-Life is not even working right now, which makes the game next level. So the way Locke explained it to me, it's kind of like, as you're playing, like most games, you play in the game, the world goes on. Stalker, way he's saying is when you stop playing, the world still continues on, and basically the AI groups and the NPCs and the interactions are all dynamic. So this is like this advanced level AI of the world that's going on. And apparently the feature is not working correctly. The Stalker devs are made it aware. And apparently the patch is going to be like in a week. He was like, when you encounter that, experience that, that's when you're playing Stalker. I'm like, well, this was dope. Now you're telling me this is even, so I'm sold. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to hold off. That's why I said this week is going to be short, because I'm getting into it for a couple hours in. And he's like, yo, just hold off. And I'm like, all right, cool. So as soon as that patch, I believe it's called A-Life.
Yeah.
Is what it's called?
Yeah, it was the patch I read earlier. It said A-Life bugs and fixes.
Yeah, it's their most unique, and it's 2.0, and it's controls how NPCs in the zone spawn in, move around, interact with each other and the player in the zone. Right now, it's not working as intended, and they said CSG has apologized for the issues, but promises that they will have the patches and updates for that. So they said it's a very high priority fix for them, so they're on it, because that's what the older Stalker games are based on. But overall, I really do like it. It's dark. Everybody's shiesty.
Yeah.
This is a shiesty game. Like, but that, it feels real. Like, yeah, go over there and do that for me. And you go over there and be a setup. These dudes trying to rob you, son. Yeah. Like, hey, yo,
the beauty of the game is you can just shoot them all right there. You can be like, all right, man, I'm just not doing this. Like, before the conversation even starts, like, it's got that level of reactivity. It's really good.
You could kill the quest giver. You ain't fit like, bro, because and again, he gave me a great point. We got to be real. Like, even early Skyrim days, I remember what he's talking about, because there'd be certain vital quest givers in a lot of games, right? Including Bethesda game. And you'll like kill that and they get into that animation where they go like this, and you know that you can't kill them. I'm like, use an important quest giver. I can't really kill you. Yeah. So no, not Stalker. No. Everybody could catch that work.
Yeah.
So that's dope.
It's wonderful. Yeah. There was a point where I got to like, I think I told this story last week, but still, I thought it was so funny. Like, this guy, I show up to this barn or this farmyard, and like I fight off this beast, and guy comes out, he's like, oh, that guy are here. Yeah, like they attacked us. I locked that dude outside. Like, I just, I wasn't going to take a risk. You can't take a risk out in the zone. I was like, you're an asshole. I just shot him in the head. And I'm like, and now I'm thinking about A-Life. I'm like, someone's going to come and get me for that. Because I told Locke that, and Locke was just like, I was like, yeah, no one reacted. It was great. Like, I just killed him in the privacy of like our own little farm there. I was like, no one's gonna find this. He's like, you think? And then A life happens. He's like, someone will follow up with you. I was like, oh,
Bro,
okay.
Stalker is real life in the hoods of the wastes. It's a very hood like. It's a cold world out here. It's giving me very post-apocalyptic, and also like why I fell in love with like stuff like The Walking Dead. You know, because it's just like how does society react when conditions are like this? But yeah, love that. So that's been that, and then second thing. Shout out, I forgot my man last week. I should have remembered his name. Last week when we did Game Pass Pick of the Week, we did get a recommendation. And they were like, COG, Aliens, Descent, Dark Descent. Now, I have my eye on this game. Shout out to Addict, and I believe it was either Flame or my man C-Unit. We was at PAX East last year. They got a chance to cover this game. I missed out on this when I was doing another interview or whatever. And they were like, yo, COG, we like it. You might like it. XCOM guy, you might like it. All right, so let's get to it. Let's get the bad right out the way. Woo! It's a little double A Jake going on. Little double A Jake. Look, you could tell they got a budget for the license, and they voice acting, and they're doing cinemas on everything. You walk up a few steps to the prologue, they're telling you stuff that your AI companions are talking all the time. They're telling you what's going on in this world. So it's Aliens universe. You're on this kind of like space station. You know, you got this little, I forgot the female character that's the commander, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And she's questioning things like, yo, something seems a bit off here. There was a shipment and something went down and, oh no. And like the guy who's the boss is like really dismissive. And then you go out and investigate. And this is the game's prologue, their tutorial teaching you the mechanics. So here's where I thought it was XCOM. It's actually not XCOM the way that I thought it is, because the movement is not traditional turn-based. It's real-time, almost like a RTS movement where you move the cursor, you be like, all right, press X to move here, and then they'll move. Or then you double tap X and they'll double time it to the area of the map where and it's an overhead kind of view. I wouldn't say isometric, but overhead. So I'm like, all right, cool. So you're getting around, you're figuring things out. Oh, hell, break it loose, right? Now, the cool thing is, it's like the little XCOM on base management. It's a little Alien Isolation on hiding. There is a hiding mechanic where if the aliens are around and they'll try to have a direct line of sight to you, and you got to do everything you can to not be spotted on some level, because you have the cool thing about the game is you have a motion tracker. So you're going around a ramp and you're seeing, and when you see that dot moving around, that's the Alien Isolation part. You're like, oh, they over there, bro. Like, and you don't want that smoke. You don't. Because what happens now is when you eventually get your soldiers and you eventually start doing missions, this game is tough. It is challenging, bro. Like, they will have this thing called alien aggressiveness. So you land there and they're moving around. If you get spotted, the more you shoot out, you can handle them with your little trains of Marine soldiers, more start coming. And they start to tone in on where you are. The cool things you could do is, obviously there's other factors now. Like if you start getting into a lot of stuff, your guys get stressed. The game has a tactical feel. When you're walking through, you move slowly. You got your flashlight. You're looking up vents. You're walking through things. Don't feel like. Also, if you run, though, if you double tap run, you lose the ability for your soldiers to shoot at the same time. So you want to go slow for certain things, but then you want to book it when you got to get up out of there. One thing that's dope mechanic that I've seen is you have to look at your areas when you come into a base with your entry points and exit points. Because some things you want to do is sometimes you want to hunker down, you want to weld the wall shut. And then if you present like a one way in, one way out situation, and then your guys feel a little bit safe and they will de-stress because you contain the area. There's side missions, there's options, there's base building. That's where the XCOM stuff comes in between missions. The thing that I learned the hard way is that I thought you had to do everything in one go when you get a mission. Some of these missions are so big and these maps are so big, you got to make multiple trips to save hostages and get people out of a situation. The alien variety is pretty cool. It's a tense game. It's scary. Nice. It's tactical, but it's scary and it's fun. A little rough around the edges, but man, I like Aliens, dog. To say this,
nice.
Joe LaRusso, I apologize. I was supposed to start Veilguard this week. I said, let me try this Dark Descent game just to see it.
Yeah.
5-6 hours later.
So you're not dropping this one? You're going all the way?
I'm gonna put it what I did right now because I gotta get Vanguard done. I have to. So at least pretty much start. I started it, but I don't really count. I'm gonna do a brand new playoff through. So what I'm gonna do, Alien Dark Descent, I'm gonna make you my portable game right now because it is in Game Pass. It's an Xbox. I think it's Xbox Play Anywhere.
Yeah.
I love this game. This might be a little. This is a card game. Shout out to my man. I apologize I forgot your name because you was last week's write-in.
Yeah.
You literally said, Cog, check this out. And I checked it out because of you. And this game is so me. I absolutely love this game.
That's awesome.
And like I said, so you got that. And then the last thing is obviously the little comfort food this week. Destiny 2. Got to see what's going on. Old man had my dad rifle. Iron Banner was back. They had some good rewards. Just a little PvP. That's one of the few PvP games that I'm actually pretty good at. So your boy had his old loadout. So let me see how to meta it. Man, I was popping heads. A couple of people in the LSM hit me. They saw me online. It was like, Cog, I fought you last night. That's what's up. A lot of ILP people. People were friend messaging because they saw me, boot Destiny back up. So again, new season, nothing crazy to write about. They did something with a character that people are not liking, that people are like, yo. Basically, they have this one character that they keep back. His name is Tanix, man. This man has died like 4 or 5 times in Destiny, and they keep bringing this fool back. And people are like, yo, Tanix again, Bungie, again. Like, come on with the resurrections already. Can we get someone new? So people don't like this Tanix character. So I'm just here for the rewards. They're really decent this season. You can wrap up the new act. They're doing that thing where they let you play the whole thing out. You can do it in one sitting kind of thing. Yeah. So I like where it's at right now. I come in, knock everything out with like an hour or two, play PvP. Boom. All right, Destiny. Back to Aliens Descent. Back to Stalker. Back to Dragons.
Doesn't sound like it's good for them. It sounds like it's very good for you, though.
It's perfect for content creators. Destiny's in a perfect spot right now for me. But it was fun to play Iron Banner, which I haven't played in a while, and I was in there doing my thing. So I still got the little.
Nice.
So that's pretty much it for me. But you, sir, you've been chunking or something. What you been doing?
I've been working hard on Metaphor Refantasio. It's like the main game I played this week. I dabbled here and there, but I was like, what we're playing, like for me to dive really deep. I have one other game I did put significant time into. It's my Game Pass pick of the week. But Metaphor is really the one that got all the attention, and I'm trying to get through it without rushing it, of course. And I think I've been playing it the ideal way, just like really taking my time through it, because these Atlas games come so infrequently. So when I really sit down, it's just like a big chunk out of the game. Now, Cog, I want you to percentage check me here. I will obviously not spoil, but I will just say,
all right, talk to me where you at.
We've made it to some islands.
And tell me that island beat wasn't the truth.
Yes. That was the dude. I was like, oh, this is when Shoji Meguro was like announced to be making a fantasy soundtrack. I'm like, this is what I expected. This sort of mixture of vocals and like fantastical. Easily my favorite song in the game.
Shout out to the Mistari tribe.
It's so good. So I made it to that point, right?
Okay.
I'm in that dungeon. I have some thoughts on that dungeon. I'll share in a moment. But how far would you say I am at this point? Gene was saying about halfway.
Yeah. You're about 50.
That's crazy.
You're not done though. You're not done that place. You're about 50.
I know. It's so funny because I'm like almost done with the dungeon. I'm like, I'm halfway through and I have like 55 hours in this game. I'm like, I'm going to turn into Cog. I'm at like 120 once this is all done. No doubt. Because I'm doing everything. This dungeon's coming a lot easier though, because I'm doing everything that I'm like level 45 right now. So I'm kind of just like, bro, it was like an action combat dungeon for the first half. I was like popping through everybody. But here's the thing. I got to pull out my Cog isms here for a moment. Bad Atlas. Bad. This dungeon's way too long, bro. And there's some dungeons in this game that are way too long. And I'm like, look, I love Metaphor, but to go from Persona 5 and 5 Royals dungeons to this has been tough. It is a different beast in a way where they are definitely tapping more into SMT. 100%. Like I see it now, like Metaphor is a melding of Persona and SMT, which is funny because Persona was spun off of SMT, so it was already that, but this feels like these two ideologies on what like social gameplay and hard turn-based combat that can get grindy and long-winded and really test your endurance are coming together. And I will say this is the first dungeon where I'm like, Bro, I played for 3 hours in this dungeon last night. I still wasn't done. I was like, where's the save room? I wanted to go to bed. I was like, I want to go to bed. I'm like, I'm stuck out here. I got like 30 MP. I had items. I was like, I don't want to use these yet. I got to make sure like I'm not wasting anything. But the tension was getting to me. I'm like, nah, it's like this shit was way too long. But I braced. That's when I kind of understood the game more. I was like, okay, I see they have leaned into at least gameplay design wise their SMT sensibilities here. And so I have a new party member at this point.
Okay.
Digging her for sure. I finished a couple of social links. Alonzo? Bro.
What the hell?
Dude, they have never done that in a social link before. I was like, I audibly popped in my Discord call. I was like, yo! I was like, you gotta do Alonzo right now. This man just had the sickest social link I've seen in an Atlas game. I could not believe what they did there. Yeah. Him, finished Stroll, really good. Hulkenberg done, really, really good. Like, dude, see, they made the right adjustments to the social links. I always said 10. So in Persona, 10 ranks is what they did. And then what happened? Some of these ranks were just like, throw away, like, yeah, let's hang out. Oh, it's the evil villain. Oh, man, like that sucked. And then they just kind of go like, oh, man, I'm leaning on you. And that's it. And then it's like your rank goes up. In Metaphor, I love that, number one, you don't have to like spend extra time with them to like get to that point for the rank up. But number two is that it's 8 ranks. So every rank is like meaningful storytelling, because really it's 7 ranks. You finish the story in 7, and the 8th is like reflections. Like, hey, I've been thinking about what happened, and here's where I'm at with this thing. And so they all come to different conclusions. And I'll just say Alonso's is fucking crazy.
Bro, it's wild. I was like, what did I just experience here? Did that just happen?
Yeah, dude. I could not believe it. So I feel like I'm in my flow. You know, each week I've put a good like 20 hours in, it feels like. Yeah. And I feel like each week I'm gaining more momentum, right? Because I got that Steam Deck PC combo where I'm just kind of playing this game where I go. You know, I want to have it finished in time for my Game of the Year list. I really do. I don't know. I'm like, I've never had this before where I'm like, why am I struggling to get through this? Like, I remember Persona 5 Royal. I mean, granted, it was the pandemic, but I was still working during the pandemic. But I was like, fuck, like, I beat that in a month. Like, this is taking me way longer.
No, bro, take what you just said with my rookie self.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are endurance trials.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I had the same thing as you. I was in that. I know what dungeon you at.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is ceiling. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ceiling. That's all I was just saying.
Bro.
Oh my God. Okay, now, okay. But even that, I'm like, then you got to make them just sit like, do I fight that crowd over there? Like,
oh, dude, see, here's the thing. You changed how I played this game. When you told me about the late game boss fights, if I see you roaming in this dungeon, I am fighting you. That is what I do now. I will kill you, whether it's action or it's turn-based. I am just developing the patience. I will fight everyone. After what Cog shared with me, I was like, everyone's getting the hands in this game
you
now.
Got to. On some level. And then the thing with this game does that is evil on some things is what I consider magla traps. Well, they'll have that glowing magla right there that's spawning them enemies. So you know instinctually you want to go take that out. And then you go there, and then the last thing you want in Metaphor is when they got the drop on you. Oh God. When you hear the bad music.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, oh God.
Bro.
I actually recoil every time. I'm like, oh fuck. Like,
I literally do. I do the same thing. I literally curse at my screen like 4 times because there were some enemies. The games get so shiesty. There's some because I'm so used to doing a roll. Yeah. You ain't gonna catch. There's some enemies like bang, saw you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah. What you mean you never moved that fast?
And I think I can cancel the animation and just dodge out. And bro, once you commit, it's so the amount of times people have been like, yeah, that's cute. We got it.
Yeah, so I know where you at, but yeah, I would say you're about 50%. And but you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. But yeah, some of these that one you're in. Oh boy.
But the story's picking up. I'm getting lore. And some of the items they're finding in this area, I'm like, I know. I literally said this in like hour 1. I was like, I know what I think they're gonna do here. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like they're doing something really unique, and I'm getting excited about the story now, right? Like I was enjoying it a lot. I was falling in love with these characters, but now I'm in the excitement phase. I'm like, oh, like I think I know where they're going with this. Like I think this is gonna be a really unique premise. I cannot wait to see more here.
I was there too. I will say when my game of the year moment happens in the next area from where you're from.
Yeah, because it feels like we're getting in Steam now because you got a little more face-to-face action with a certain someone.
With certain somebody.
Yeah, like the stakes are raising, the questions are being asked. I want to shout out a certain Parapus.
Yes.
Scottish accent. Bro, I love this
guy. Tell me them
guy.
accents are the best.
I love this guy. These accents are amazing, I gotta say. But like, bro, I love this dude's voice actor. He is so good. Like there's some voice performances in here. The new party member I got, her accent and how it's like maintained through her performance. I'm like, this is so well performed. This is such an incredible performance, like across the board from all these characters. Like the one-liners they yell out. Hulkenberg so stoic. It's so good. I'm loving this party, bro. I'm loving it.
They're so chatty even during the fights, just moving when they use a magic or when they move from the background to the foreground, when they dodge something. I told you when that character for the Ujif was like, you dare mess with the Ujif's agility? I was like, oh, I was like, yo, he was talking that. I was like, yo, this everybody it's such a thing. Warrior. Like I get excited when they talk.
Bro. I was testing it because I noticed it. I think I opened the item menu and I backed out and like this new character literally went like, let's see what we've got. And I backed out and she's like, damn it, like that. I'm like, did she just react to me just closing the item menu? I was like, oh my, like I just can't believe it.
The level of immersion with the littlest of things. Like you say, you're about to use something. Well, maybe not. And then you hear them. You're like,
that's from Persona 5, but this game has it on like another level of just like reacting to every, like, I remember like I called in my archetype. So they yell their archetype name. Then they yell something for the attack. Then it was a crit. So someone in my party's like, nice. And then like Gallica says something that there. I'm like, dude, you could just feel
it's
teamwork,
the cohesion. Yeah. And Gallica's like, oh my God, Stroll is this. He's gonna be immune to white heart attacks. So you know what I'm saying? Like he's got a weakness. You gotta help him. Like she gets you so worried about everything because she's on it. And then when you do your thing, yeah, that's right. Oh, good dodge. So I'll be like, yo, it gets you so into the combat. This is our conversation I was having with me and because I like to talk to Attic, and I was so looking forward to doing some of this because I got a chance to talk to Brad, because Brad is one of the few who has actually played and beaten both Rebirth and Metaphor. And I want to talk to those guys because that's where I was at. My thing is the separator for me, because he had a good comment on some nitpicks he had as far as Atlas stuff. But my comment was like, this core gameplay is some of the most amazing core gameplay in JRP. This is peak
top of the line
JRPG to me. And I was just like, I can't get enough of it. He was like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, and the combat type stuff, and then the weaknesses, and then okay, you get to do that, you get to go again, but they could do that to you. It's just having the full party member where it's like, you know what? All right, you're not doing your thing right now. They say, let me sub you out in the middle of the joint. And I had to start utilizing that. I'm like, okay, because I don't got nobody that can affect this character. I need, attacks or, bashing attacks or slashing attack. It's just so much to it. Yeah. Man. It is really impressive stuff.
I will say our UG friend is riding the bench right now. Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie though.
My team comp is so much better without him.
Yeah,
we're cooking without him right now. Unfortunately,
we're cooking without him right now. I know who you got. Who you got. She's awesome. Dude. She ended up taking his spot too.
Yeah, she's just way too effective. Then gets a spell that hits everyone with fire, and I'm like, we need this, man. I'm getting really good late game items. Like after this whole, you're on the gauntlet runner, and a certain thing attacks you. I had a certain talk with someone. They're like, hey, here's an item. And I'm like, all right, let's see what this is. And I look at my item. I'm like, hello? This is like, it was like a gold level item that was like +6 in all stats, but like archetype XP bonus and shit. I'm like, oh my God. I've been doing all the Coliseum fights.
Oh, you're a beast. Wow. You've been doing the Coliseum. I missed out on that. I didn't get a chance to really grind. That's the only thing I didn't get a chance to grind now.
The rewards there are so good. There's an item I got for my main character. It gives you +10 luck. It's something ridiculous. and 1.5 times XP for your archetype that you have equipped.
Ooh.
So I have that shit on, and I'm just like flying through. I switched to general. What I've been doing, what I've been doing is like whenever I get a new mage class, level him up. Then I switch to a different archetype, and I'll put all of those spells from the mage onto that new archetype. So I still have the mage benefits, but now I'm a general with spells that's also like move to the back line and just like gives them 2 ranks of fucking
two ranks of defense in the joint.
Oh my god. Like that is a busted ability. It takes a lot of MP, so it makes sense, but that is a busted ability to be like, move everyone back so they're already limiting damage. Move them up 2 defense ranks. Like that's insane.
Skill inheritance is what takes it to the next level, because now you start to really tweak and you take the best of certain things. So you say you're messing with general, you're doing any other standout. Have you messed with merchant yet?
Yeah. I have merchant maxed out. I haven't unlocked the next merchant yet.
Don't sleep on merchant. That pro tip, merchant has saved me when MP is at a minimum.
Oh yeah, the almighty.
Oh yes, and it's just cash. It's like, oh, you want cash? All right, cool.
Especially because I finished a certain social link with someone. I'm getting funds every day.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Someone's stealing from me and being like, "Here, boss, here's your cut." I'm like, "Thank you."
And don't sleep on my man. One of my favorite NPCs, Barton.
Oh yeah.
Barton, that's one of my favorite
general.
Yeah. My man, the Rassant. That's my. I like.
He's like my least favorite. I was like, I'm not bad. I'm indifferent to him. Like his story's not appealing to me. I'm just like, all right, you got a cool class though.
I'm here for the loot.
I mean, that's what's happening. I'm like, okay, like I know where the story's going. Like it's been boring and kind of predictable. Like every Atlas game has that one social link where you're like, you just exist to give me an archetype. Like you were definitely like last man in line. Like that.
I like Barton.
Yeah.
Oh, you like my
awful.
man.
I'm not going to sell him low. I'm just saying, like, compared to everyone else and the heights they reach.
True. Yeah, his arc is definitely.
He's one of the again because he's like the archetypal Atlas character. Where like his arc concluded in Area 2, we'll say.
Okay, fair.
And then they're like, no, we're gonna make a whole social link out of this. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Bro, that's one of the best design characters. Yeah. I like the design.
My hope is that this dungeon I'm in, there's a certain character I am traveling with, and I love her design. And I am hoping, don't say anything, I am hoping she's in for the long haul, is what I will say.
It'd be nice. It would be nice.
It would be very nice. I love her design. That helmet she wears, I'm like, someone was playing Nier. I was like, that is like a reinvented Emil mask from Nier Automata, from the original Nier. I was like, oh yeah, like I know the inspiration for this. Just
like I said, this game, you're gonna like a lot of characters. I can't wait for you to meet other people too. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, but I'm at that point now. I'm like, okay, the momentum's gaining. What I can say is like, 'cause no doubt Metaphor is gonna get a second version years from now. But what I usually use the comparable is like, what was I feeling with Vanilla P5? I liked Vanilla P5 a lot, but I remember finishing that game and like very confidently and feeling it for a while. Like P4 Golden's way better than this. It's just like combat. P5 has the advantage, but 5 or 4 Golden just had characters, story, comedy, themes, music, you named it. But then 5 Royal came along, bro, and changed my life literally. So to be in a spot where I'm playing Metaphor and those feelings are coming back, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so good. And I'm only halfway there. I'm like, Atlas, take me for a ride. I'm so ready. So I'm very excited. Yeah, it's been a really good time with Metaphor these last couple of weeks. And so I'm hoping to have it done before the Game of the Year list is in for me and before we do our holiday episodes and all that fun stuff. Because I can feel it creeping up the list, but I can't commit to like, I'm not done with you yet. But
because you're not done with
I think you'll be in the top 3. I feel like it should be there, but I don't want to commit to that. So.
Yeah, you can't commit until you beat it. Then because I want your assessment. You are the de facto, kind of source. I need to know from the man himself. Where is it?
Again, my biggest complaint right now is definitely the dungeons. I just think
that's fair.
Quantity over quality here, and I get it's like a series identity thing, and they're not awful. They're just like Persona 5s were so mechanically driven, and each had a gimmick to them that didn't like override the general dungeon design. Like you would still use like your grapple hook and you'd still be able to like jump over objects, and there were like mini puzzles. But in Metaphor, it's like, I mean, especially this dungeon was the worst in the game. Like I just mazes, long hallways, enemies everywhere. We have to turn on an elevator. I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything, man? Like, this is ridiculous. But the visual theming of it too isn't that good.
Oh, you at the elevator part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, you deeper there. Okay, I know where you at.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. The items we're finding down there, like, what's this circular reflective thing? I'm like, interesting. Yeah, I like what they're doing here. So we'll see. But anyway, that's what I'm playing this week. Time for the news, Cog. Number 1 goes to PlayStation and Xbox, sort of, because PlayStation is rumored to be working on a handheld, according to Bloomberg. Said handheld is claimed to be years away from launch and could be decided against bringing it to market still. It is also said that it will build upon the Portal, which turned into a surprise success for PlayStation and recently just earned itself an update that lets you stream games without being connected to a local PS5. The Uncharted Wolf writes in, "What's up, Dukes? With Phil Soft confirming that the Xbox handheld is a few years out, and rumors are around that PlayStation is doing a handheld of their own to be released around the same time frame, I've got to ask, is this market worth pushing for? We talk a lot about the Steam Deck's success, but it only sold 4 million units, a major success for what Valve wants that device to sell, but substantially lower than the PS Vita. I worry that both PlayStation and Xbox won't realize just how niche this market is and spends tons of resources on something low volume. Am I overreacting? Thanks for all you guys do." All right, Cog. PlayStation in the mix. Rumors are building up, both multiple years out. I know you've said before you feel they're kind of being coy. Are they playing games with another? Are these maybe closer, you feel? Are they further than you feel? What's the game being played here? And of course, what do you think about the Uncharted Wolf wrote in about?
Shout out to Uncharted Wolf. I think he makes some valid points. I mean, look, I am biased. I think both of us are like the handheld Dukes. We love our handheld stuff like that. And, the market, obviously with the Steam Deck and being a high performant device and, the price point, for them, maybe that's great, but is that enough to PlayStation, Xbox to justify the saturation? I think so. I think what we're seeing now is that I think what the Nintendo Switch proves is that if you could come in with a great price point and compelling software, that, you can penetrate the market. And they have some of the best IPs, right? Let's just be clear. Like, Nintendo is its own beast, and they have a great foundational demographic being younger at first, right? They still have a wide variety of titles, but I think they're the perfect storm of why their success is what it is. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say what PlayStation and Xbox can do to match that, right? But I do think it's one of those situations where you are missing out on a market, and you are missing out that there are people who gravitate and want something like this. And the key for me, for the Xbox side, like I've always said, is they need to navigate an Xbox console-like experience, portable, without much detracting from the experience, where it's the same core experience. And I think in the past, and I think even PlayStation would admit this, as much as I love the PSP and I love the Vita, those are some of my favorite handhelds of all time. Nintendo still has catching up to do to the Vita as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. As far as like apps and party chat. But I remember when Vita did that, I was like, oh my God, this is mind-blowing. Yeah. I'm like, I'm literally having a PlayStation-like experience with trophies and all this stuff. And amazing. So for me, they've got to navigate the UI aspect, getting that experience, but also the mistakes that were avoided, where it's like, you don't want, like, I think where, I don't say the Vita went wrong, but I feel like when you start to be like, okay, here's PlayStation 4, and then here's the Uncharted version of, the PlayStation Vita, you know what I mean? When it's just smaller, different type, that's when you segment the market to me. If you have that synergy where just like, hey, I can continue what I'm doing here and then do it there, that's all that matters. Even if the resolution
really additive.
Exactly. You want it as that, because what we're seeing, and to my surprise, like, I'll be honest, I first admit that I was wrong. I laughed at the Portal. I'm like, who's gonna want the Portal?
Same. Yeah.
I was like, who's this for? They're laughing at me. They're like, bro, there's a demand. This is not even a native device. This is literally, we are streaming initially, right? Mm-hmm. From you in the same house to a, local dock PS5 in the house. Now, changed the philosophy. You can access the internet. You can catch this anywhere. So it goes to show you people want this experience, right? People were willing. They are very happy with the sales. So I think that's what it is. I think we're in this different era, and maybe for people, I know consoles are declining, even on the hardware numbers, even for PlayStation, went down a little bit. But not as much as Xbox. But saying like, that's a whole nother decline. That's crazy. But what I will say is that, is this a sign of the market changing, where not saying consoles are going away, but people just want to play it where they want to play it at, whether it be the PC, whether it be on their handheld device, on their mobile device. And I'm thinking maybe that's what it is. So I think it's worth investigating, especially if you can mimic your full-fledged experience and continue on as, like you said, an additive thing. And to me, Xbox is the best equipped for it. It's just like, bro, their literally ethos is we're everywhere and then play anywhere and all this other stuff. And they've got the backbone to do it. So yeah, I think it's something that they need to do. And the final point is with PlayStation, I think they're both being coy. Obviously there's R&D and all that stuff, and they got to, it takes time and stuff like that. I feel Xbox is definitely being coy. I think they know PlayStation may be doing something, and they're planning accordingly. And also they want to see how this lines up with what their future console is. I think my only question is it an intermediate step between the next gen, or is it the complementary step for next gen, where you bring out two at once, like you did the dual SKU this time, and then the second SKU is the handheld that matches the at least is somewhat equal to the performance of the main device. That we'll see, So that's where I'm at. But what do you think with this whole PlayStation Bloomberg report? Where you at with this whole thing on Uncharted Wolf?
Well, it's really interesting that, at least as the report stands, that it could still be decided that they don't want to do this. And I wonder if that means that they find more value in just continuing to support the portal and giving it more features. I know you can't add suddenly that this thing can like have memory and download all of this stuff, but they might just want to invest in that tech there. I mean, that upgrade is significant. It says a lot about PlayStation. And while they've had a quiet, bad year in a lot of ways, I've mentioned that, and I don't back off of that with games like Lego Horizons performing horribly. We saw Concord and what happened there. Like, I think there's been a lot of bad things in this year for them. However, this has been one of the bright spots. Their changes to PS Plus. PS Plus is a force. I encourage people, you are a Game Pass stan, open that library and give it a scroll.
Really good.
It's really good, dude. I was going through it. I was like, holy, like me and my friends had like 3 different holy shit moments. Like, they have this, they have the whole Ubisoft lineup in there, which I know isn't a major selling point for anyone, but I'm just saying they have partnerships like Xbox, or Xbox is EA, PlayStation is Ubisoft. I mean, they have so much in there. On top of their classics, they're adding Sly 2 and 3 in there, which is just speaking my language. They're adding platinum trophies to those. What PlayStation is doing is worth paying attention to, because some things that we've even been guilty of saying they can't do, like, oh, Xbox is way ahead on cloud streaming. Bro, I stream on my portal a lot, and it's really good. And I've tried the new update, and it's really good. And you gotta tip the cap and be like, yeah, look, Xbox has the Azure cloud support and stuff like that. PlayStation did team up with Microsoft to get Azure cloud support, so you got to wonder there what that was for. But I don't think Xbox is dwarfing them in this category anymore as much as we have suggested. What Xbox seems to be investing is like cloud computing, like Hideo Kojima's game. Right. We're kind of seeing how it's going with Microsoft Flight Sim, and a lot of people, dude, I was reading some of the replies. A lot of people are like, yo, make this shit downloadable. Like, this is not acceptable. And so there's some pushback right now.
Oh, absolutely.
There's some pushback right now. So it's interesting to monitor, but PlayStation's been really interesting this year with some of the choices they've made. Is that they've leaned into particular corners of their ecosystem that are smaller demographics in the scheme of things. Like, not everyone's a platinum trophy hunter, but me and Gene were talking in our spoiler cast yesterday, and we're both like kind of back into hunting platinums. And I said to him, it's because of like the classics they're doing. He's like, yeah, like I just kind of want to get them. And I'm like, yeah, I've been in the same boat where I just have that itch again that I haven't had in like 2 years, where I would get a platinum here or there, but it would be because it was convenient. It was like, yeah, I'm close anyway. But now it's like, oh, I want to hunt. Like, I want to go for it again. And that's making me buy and play more on PlayStation. And things like this, like little accessories, like PlayStation and handhelds are synonymous, just like Nintendo and handhelds, in my opinion. Like, the PSP was one of the most successful handhelds ever. And the Vita, while it was not nearly as successful, was definitely beloved and has grown a large cult fan following for good reason. its library is still kick ass. While many of its games got ported, it still is in some of those cases with those games got ported, like a Danganronpa, I think is the best place to play many of its exclusives. It's still the Vita. And I don't think it's a coincidence, while it's merely anecdotal, is we do buying guides on Retro Rebound, and our most popular buying guide is the Vita. People are always looking at like, I missed this thing. What's it about? And so I think there is a strong yearning for a core PlayStation handheld.
Yes.
Where I would be surprised if they backed from it. But that is, to your question, Uncharted Wolf, why they should do it. Because yes, it will not be as explosive as a PSP or a Nintendo DS or a Switch, even, for a more fair comparable. At least I don't expect that. It could always be that. But that's because like what drives PlayStation hardware is usually exclusivity. And they're probably going to go against their strategy of what worked against them with the Vita, which is splitting up the developer community and in turn hurting them. Plus they were worried about that PSN hack. Something got through the Vita. I think Colin reported it. Something got through the Vita, and they were like, we got to shut this down. Yeah, this is a weakness. This is a deficiency for us. Yeah. So I think they're not going to do exclusive games for the whatever they call it, the PS5 handheld, we'll just call it for now. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a companion device. And just like the Portal, it's going to be part of your ecosystem, your Apple ecosystem, your iPad to your iPhone to your AirPods and so on. And I think, while I don't love everything they do, like I hate the remasters they do. That's another L they had this year. They make really smart choices on what they know will sell because they have that Apple ecosystem I've talked about ad nauseum, which is that, like people are going to buy this shit up. And especially if there's a PS5 handheld that's out there and it's really good, that is going to sell well. However, to Xbox's point, this is why I say they need to have multiple storefronts. I think you got to get Steam on this thing. I think you get Epic Game Store on this thing. I think if you can get any PC storefront on the Xbox handheld, you should. If you can make it the all-in-one gaming device that also has Xbox games, PlayStation games eventually come to PC. Like I just think if you can make your device more appealing in that way, where it's just broader, that is the competition. There is that right now you have vertical slices. Like the Steam Deck is amazing. I still use them. I was using it for Metaphor. It's an amazing device, especially the OLED. The improvements they made,
look crazy,
way better than Valve ever marketed it as. And I think it was to their disservice because it's a really fantastic handheld. But that's a vertical, right? It's a big vertical, but we're talking about just the Steam market. You can get emulation going on it. There's Game Pass you can get going through putting it into your library and stuff. But obviously, we have to go into the back end and do shit there. It's not great. The ROG Ally shows that Windows 11 is not great for handheld gaming and updating and all of this kind of preparation work you have to do, at least in my experience, before gaming sessions.
Call it tweak it and twerk it.
Yeah. Diminishing returns, right? It's an excellent device, but that combined with the battery life, I definitely had growing pains with that thing where I just said, you know what, the Steam Deck's more user-friendly. But none of these handhelds, outside of, I guess you could argue, a cloud gaming one like my Logitech, allows me to access everything. I can access Steam, stream with that. I can access my PlayStation, stream with that. And I can access my Xbox by streaming with this. So that is where it's at. But right now, in the terms of downloadable native support, it is a race to who can access multiple libraries. And I think Xbox, with their partnerships and with how they have structured their business, stands the best chance. Where PlayStation also is justified, as the Portal has become a great investment for me. Yeah. When I bought it, I was like, whatever, let's see. The Portal's become a great investment. It's like, okay, now how do you justify me having
another
the Portal and getting this now?
That's a good point.
So I wonder about that sometimes, right? And so that's why I think the handheld market's there. It's a companion piece. And I think in Xbox, the other thing that sets them up well is you can shift the optics in a way that Cog and I have discussed extensively of like, you have your Series X, we'll say, like the powerhouse home console that you set up in your entertainment center. And this is where you get your 4K 60 and all that good stuff. But the Series S has gotten a bad rap. Despite how impressive it can be, it's gotten a bad rap because it's underperformed for a lot of people. It's just like the bad way to play games for many people. It's the slandered device. But I think there's a difference between a small home console and a small device you can hold in your hands, and how people process when a game is not running as well, when it's in the palm of their hands and they're away from their entertainment center or their TV, versus when you're blowing up this now like 1080p image on your 4K 60-inch television. There's a difference in how that sort of experience is interpreted. And I think both console manufacturers will benefit from getting away from that sort of, what's your P's at, bro, zeitgeist, because the handhelds, did bring in a conversation of image quality, which had been missing for a while. It's just like you and I have been there since Rise. We've been like, yo, Rise looks great. I don't care if it's 900p. Thanks. I bought that shit day one because I thought it looked really good. But, you know, I think image quality is becoming more and more prevalent because now the P's are going up. What's your P's, bro? It's like, it doesn't matter. It looks good. Here's why, you know, unless you're Digital Foundry, then it matters. All respect to them. They do a great job. But my point being is that's not my assessment of it. Is like, there is a clear reason to get in this market because really no one has broken through with the all-in-one device. The device, the handheld to rule them all. At least that's my assessment of it. You could argue the Steam Deck is that. And maybe Valve comes around with a follow-up to the Steam Deck that dunks on all of this. No doubt Valve could undercut Xbox. If Xbox is going to put Valve on Steam on their handheld, Valve's going to be like, put Xbox on ours. So it's going to be interesting, man. I don't know if there's going to be a dominant performance anywhere except Nintendo.
Yes.
But I do think Xbox can get that leg up if they get the all-in-one feel for their device, and it's native.
Yeah,
those are the two key points.
Native is the key. And then again, you said it perfectly. Resolution expectation. It is different. It's perceived differently when you have a handheld device and you're outside of your home or it's in the palm of your hand. You don't sit there and natively say, hey, you know, I'm looking for a 4K experience in this. You know, you're so happy and conditioned to be able to play something that is awesome, a full-fledged version of something on the go. It's the convenience that makes it a more appealing. I think people lower that resolution expectation. As long as it runs fairly well, people are fine with that. So yeah, I agree. I think that it's going to be key. And you said the other key point, which is the key for Microsoft is if they can, again, nail their functionality and their UI and on the front end in conjunction with say, hey, we also offer all these storefronts. So you play it how you want to play. Now we got to see how they navigate the financial aspect of that. But that will be a game changer. You know, it will be huge. And, you know, they're going to have the option to most likely cloud stream as a back option too, you know, in conjunction, making it that all-in-one kind of device with native Game Pass, you know, hopefully different storefronts, hopefully, you know, cloud, you know, Azure being able to stream because that's one thing the Ally says. The Ally's like, hey, you know, you got the option for native, but you could also stream these games as well if you want to preserve hard drive space or whatever. So just giving that functionality there, and the chipset's going to be big. Because, I mean, look, I play that Atlas. I know the Ally has its issues, but I will say from when you get down to the brass tacks of game playing, oh my God, these games run amazing.
So good, yeah.
Oh my God, like full-fledged. I'm like, wow, I am not missing a beat. At most, all I'm doing is like, you know, raising some font subtitles up a little bit, and that's about it. Like, but performance, oh my God, full-on Tekken 8 UE5 looking amazing. Like, I'm just like, I'm playing Baldur's Gate. I'm like, damn, you know, the key is going to be that battery life, get that TDP right.
Yeah.
You know, and try to maximize and get the performance right. And the price point, if they can nail that price point, it's going to be huge for them. You know what I'm saying?
That's the key, right? Like, what do you expect in price point? Like there was a lot of pushback for the Logitech G Cloud. It kind of recovered a little bit because I think more people were adjusting to those sort of cloud gaming devices as more and more handhelds popped up. Because it's so interesting that Logitech was really like the one who broke onto the scene first. But, you know, Steam Deck really, I think, solidified, stabilized, and all of these have come in at different price points. Do you anticipate, you know, Steam Deck had all these different SKUs that range from, I think, like 3 to 600 or 4 to 600, somewhere in that pocket. Do you anticipate Xbox just having like a one-time SKU, PlayStation having a one-time SKU, or do you have a kind of light version? Because look at what Nintendo did, right? Like, here's the Switch Lite, here's the Switch OLED, right? Like, I feel like that's the route you take, and kind of evolve it. But it's tough.
It's tough because remember what got them in trouble with the S is the memory disparity. So if you can't get too crazy with hardware component features lesser than another one, because now you open up SKU, you know, parity issues, and that they have see that the key for them is to tell developers, hey, this is not like a Series S situation where we're gonna have to make you work a little extra harder to get this in. Hey, it's the same as blah blah blah, right? And that's gonna be the key. So I think, unfortunately, it would probably not be in their best interest to do a multiple SKU unless the actual hardware remains the same and you're offering screen resolution, like you're doing an OLED or something, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the minute you start saying this one got more memory than that one and this one, maybe you, matter of fact, I take it back. Maybe you could pull it with hard drive space. Maybe that's the differentiator, but you cannot pull it with chipset, or you can't pull it with with the graphics card and the memory. You cannot. That's going to cause problems. Because dev's going to be pissed off.
Yeah, you got to keep that. It's a tough balance to strike. And
it's got to be like, this is the 2 tera, this is the 1 tera. That's about as far as you could go. As far as
we're going to be at such an interesting point in this coming generation, because I feel like it is going to be the biggest leap in a term of feature set, similar to when we went from PS3 and Xbox 360 to Xbox One and PS4, right? We thought it'd be a continuation of the norm, but in hindsight, the Xbox TV, DRM, all this shit, like, we're going to have you download your games and all this stuff, right? That was very much ahead of the time, like a full generation and a half ahead of the time, though, was very telling on where Xbox projected gaming was going. And they felt very, as they always do, strong about it and went in powerfully with it. And now we're heading into this next generation soon, if you will. And we're at the point where internet's getting there. Streaming is more of a common thing than it was even 2 years ago, dude. It really, I think, kicked off with xCloud, and kind of when we got that, I can play on my iPad and like there's no lagging or anything like that. Like, we started to get there, but this generation seen leaps with that. And so I feel like the feature set for both these consoles is like, do we want to do native support? Is native support going to, by the way, Phil has gone on record of seemingly suggesting that native support very much matters. So I'm being fair, but I'm also saying that if the industry is pushing more and more to digital, if it's pushing more and more to streaming, and Xbox is like, a lot of our focus is streaming, do they even care about downloads come 2027, come 2026? I'm playing devil's advocate here. Okay. I feel sincerely that downloads make sense, again, with my Steam ID and stuff. Like, you're going to want that, but I do feel like we're going to approach that point where like these feature sets might even be very different from one another. Like this last console generation, it was almost like they met behind the scenes, shook hands, and like, here's what we're going to put into our Xbox Series X. Okay, sounds good. Right. And they kind of like walked in line with each other. But with the PS4 and Xbox One, they were so wildly different in vision. Kind of made it really interesting, right? So I feel like we're going to get different visions again this coming generation.
I see where you're going.
I'm doing a bad job of explaining, I feel, but like, hopefully you got me at the end of it.
No, I got you. I see where you're going, because I would definitely agree with you in the sense that the PS4, the Xbox One, they were very distinct in the vision, the differences on how they approach the gen. Yeah. And I think, you are right in terms of, because I think it's safe to assume that PlayStation, if their handheld comes to market, they want to do something that's a successor past the Portal. I would find it hard to believe that they're like, we're going to do multiple storefronts. We're going to allow Epic Games and Steam. No, I don't see that. I will be shocked. Hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like, that would be crazy. I'd be like, wow, that's something I never would have envisioned PlayStation do. But to your point, we could kind of tell with all of Phil's comments and all the things that they've been hinting that they are definitely flirting with other storefronts, other devices. Yeah. Like, whoever they seem more open to that. So I do agree. They will be, both companies, if they launch their handhelds, they will be divergent in that respect.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really fascinating time. I'm just excited that everyone's kind of in on handhelds. I think the other race will be the race to the pocket, literally, as in like, how small can we get these now? Because the thing that I think, to Uncharted Wolf's writing about, like, it's only 4 million sold. I'm like, well, let me grab it here. When this thing is like a tank, it's like, this is great, but you can't really, unless you're traveling on like a transportation device, you can't really take this anywhere that you don't plan on sitting down with it a little bit. The beauty of the PSP and the DS and the Game Boy SP and so on was that you just got to throw that in your pocket when you were done. And I don't know if those days will ever come back, but I'm getting carried away now. Like an Xbox mini handheld that can just do streaming and it goes right in your pocket. It's your phone, basically. So I apologize. I'm just having fun here. But I'm just spitballing here. Phone. Yeah, I'm just don't you guys have phones? I'm just spitballing here. But yeah, I feel like that could be a race to like who can get a little bit smaller, where this is a reasonably sized handheld, without feeling too light on features. Right. It's careful balance. Anyway, I love talking about this stuff. I'm very excited for both of them. I'm very excited for both.
I'm excited. I'm just happy that, shout out to Nintendo, that they've kind of
brought it back.
Yeah, they've trailblazed that, yes, you could do this and it could be successful. See? Right? And now they're like, oh, you know what I mean? And then here comes Steam Deck, and they're like, oh, okay, it can be done. You know, again, this is a beautiful time. I cannot wait. But yeah, I hope we get some announcements or something soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. That's the weird part, is that I always remember Sarah Bond saying during the business update, like, we have more hardware that will show off at the end of the year. I'm like, okay, maybe the Game Awards, but what is it? When is it? Like, I can't let go of the fact that they said it's a few years out. I'm like, that just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't, unless they were like ready to start revving up that next generation early, like we've talked about. So,
or at minimum, you do like the reveal of, like, even if it's like the chipset and the prototype of what you're trying to do, you start the conceptualization talk. That's what they used to do in the past, where it's like, okay, it's a monster and this is coming, and you see a chipset and it's like, it's coming, right? Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for. We get one of those soon, because, man, I'm excited. I would love one of these devices, man. It's so bad.
Yeah. Again, the urgency is still here, and that Xbox needs to strike first.
Yes,
they need to strike first. Cog, any extra thoughts on the handheld wars that are ongoing between PlayStation and Xbox behind the scenes? We're good?
Yeah, we good.
All right, let's get into a fun one. Avowed. So, yeah, this is what I imagine most people are here for, but I guess we saved the best for last, incidentally, here. So, Avowed has found itself in a bit of hot water. Cog and I talked before the show. We're like, how do we want to handle this? How do we want to talk about this? Do we want to talk about it at all? Are we kind of breathing into a situation that we don't need to, especially with me and my recent fucking bullshit? It's like, do I want to jump in and talk about this at all? But ultimately, we strongly believe in the quality of our conversation, and we feel we can back that up. So we want to talk about what's going on with Avowed. So for those who have not catched up, and I imagine many of you have, but if you have not, because it's at least as of this time, it feels like it's spreading like wildfire. One of the gentlemen we actually interviewed, right, at the Xbox Gamescom in LA event, the art director for Avowed, Matt Hansen, the same one who made the 30 FPS comment that did set the world on fire, has stepped in a giant pile of crap, to put it lightly. So it was leaked that there was a pronoun selection in the character creator for Avowed. There hasn't been anything else on, if anyone needs a comparable, a Veilguard level. It was just a pronoun selector similar to something like a Starfield. And it was posted online that people will not be playing it because of that. And it really did seem like a situation of like, okay, this is kind of the expected back and forth, and let it go. This art director then went on Blue Sky, and as Elon Musk was trying to get involved and say that this shouldn't even be the case, said that I should get the exact quote just to make sure I don't paraphrase too much. He said, "I wanted so badly to make him mad with my game, and I cannot believe it actually happened. Just wait until you see the default, you sad little shit." Anyway, Avowed comes out February 18th next year. Give it a whirl if you ain't afeared of the woke my mind virus. And so since then, it has blown up a lot, big time, where everyone on Twitter, Reddit, just a lot of conversation going on, because then Chris Avellone, formerly of Obsidian, kind of got yanked into it because people were like, what's going on? He's like, I don't work at Obsidian anymore. But then it was revealed that this individual was specifically saying they would not hire white people. And therefore, it was a sign of like, hey, this is racism. And in turn, Chris Avellone had posted that, based on recent news, if you were rejected from an art position at Obsidian in the past few years, call a lawyer. Discrimination in hiring, especially for a Microsoft studio, can ensure you don't need to apply for a job ever again. And it shouldn't cost you a cent to initiate legal action. The lawyers will know what the case is worth, and they'll do the heavy lifting. This has nothing to do with my personal politics, but I believe strongly that hiring discrimination for any reason isn't something that the industry should tolerate. I hope you agree. And so that leaves us in a situation here where Avowed has been, and Obsidian has been absorbed into this ongoing battle between developers and fans. And I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of frustrations with how this has been all handled and conducted. Cog, I don't know if you would like me to open things up or... Okay, I'll go ahead.
Either way. Mm-hmm.
For me, it's greatly frustrating what Matt did here, because I understand, even if in his deepest manner he meant well by all of this, but what I see is an extremely selfish action, and I have to just be very frank about that, because after the Veil Guard, it should have been a very clear sign to developers like, yo, let the game talk, because you look at what Veil Guard did, right? Seems to have sold decently, mostly positive reviews on Steam. Like it came back a little bit, right? It didn't storm onto the scene. It came back a little bit. To kind of go out there though and openly say multiple things like my game when you're not even the director. Carrie Patel is the director, dude. And I'm sorry, I don't know her well enough to know if she'd claim ownership, how she feels about it. I don't want to speak for any members of Obsidian, even though I'm friends with some people there. I don't know how they're feeling right now. But if I'm her and I'm watching this dude twice now put a bullet in my game, I'd be kind of upset, to go out there and kind of talk for other people and to ultimately create this battle when all you had to do was heads down, just, hey, a lot of games are getting hit with this right now, and kind of just mind your business effectively and just let it go. It was greatly frustrating to see it handled in such a way that you're 3 months from the finish line, and instead you've made a lot of people's careers in your team, whether you meant well or not, you've made it much more difficult, man. And that is the hard pill to swallow. You may want to hire less white people because you feel, and I don't want to speak for you too much in this, that
I got you.
People of color are not frequent in the gaming space. And I understand that and I respect that. But to outright ostracize white people is not okay. It's not. Like, I'm not personally offended by it. I know I'm not the minority, but I'm also like, dude, what the fuck? To be so open about it and comfortable with that is not okay. And it is something that should be brought into question. It is. And it makes me sad because it just is one of those things where I feel like 5 years ago, these types of conversations don't happen as often. I know there's an importance in talking about it, but it's upsetting because it's like in every circle now, right? Like, gaming was a little bit away from all of this noise. And because games have become more and more of an art form, an expression, we're having more of these conversations, and we're seeing how like individuals will make things to, I'm not misquoting them, to make other people mad. It's like, I just can't co-sign that, bro, and be like, yeah, nice. Like, yeah, piss them off. It's like, why? Like, you don't see Quentin Tarantino producing movies and going like, how can I piss some motherfucker off here today? It's like, make your game, man. Make your game, express your creative vision. And my only closing thought is on progressive media is it is important. And I think Metaphor, which is a leader in Game of the Year, is a great example of that. I say that because Metaphor is progressive in every single imaginable way, down to you cannot romance anyone, right? Like, all of these limits and stuff are put on the player. But why is it not a big deal for people? It's because it has been intelligently and thematically communicated without a desire to make you angry. It's communicated with a desire to open your mind, to help you understand more, to see the world differently, which is what art does. And some people may walk away with various disagreements on that, but it's kind of like I was left feeling. I was like, man, like, why are we doing this? So I don't want to talk too much. I want to give you the chance to talk about it, Cog, get some thoughts out there, and see how you're feeling. Again, ultimately, I get where he's trying to come from, but I just feel it was not handled well.
Yeah, no, well said. I mean, there's a lot here, right? There's a lot to unpack. Obviously, me and you had the pleasure of interviewing Obsidian, and Matt was part of this. Said he was very vocal. He actually brought the 31st per second thing. And I'll be honest, I was surprised with him as the art director breaking that news, because I forgot the other gentleman that we had there, but I believe he was more senior. Yeah. I'm going to assume.
Yeah, I think he was production lead or something like that. He seemed like up one level on the totem pole of the overall studio.
Of the overall scope of it, right. And Look, here's the thing, and I'm trying to start with top level first, right? Top level COG, I'm super pro developer, right? I'm always about developers should be allowed to make the game they want to make.
Yeah.
I'm from the era where the government was like, yo, these games are too we don't want blood and we don't want Mortal Kombat in the industry. This is bad. This is causing stuff. I'm from that era. So for me, I'm really not about the censorship in games. Like if you make something and this is your message you want to get out there, you could do whatever you want to do, right? However, where I struggle is that I'm going to attack two parts to this. The first part is I am worried about the gaming community right now because I'm from the era where let people create and let the people decide if this is what is fire or not, right? And now I'm starting to see before people have even played a game, they are denouncing a game.
Yeah.
That is weird to me because now I feel what has happened here is the pendulum has swung too hard on one side before this, and then now it's swinging too hard the other side. You know what I'm saying? And what's happening is, because we've experienced it with LSM, right? I think even Colin got into it with a specific group, right? Who are coming out and saying, we have to stop this type of game, right? That to me is wild to me when you have not even experienced the game for yourself, played anything for yourself, just the mere mention of pronoun or a character, the game has now been denounced, right? I gotta start there first because this is something that's really important to me.
Yeah,
and how I feel about it is like, yo, we should be able to make our own informed decision when we play it, whether or not. And here's the other side of this. The other side is what I think Matt was trying to do, right? I'm not justifying anyone saying a group of people I don't want you playing or a group of people we don't want you. I am not justifying that.
Yeah.
That is where he messed up. I love you, Matt, but that wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? But what I think what he was attempting to do was like, we're going to create what we want to create. And so what? But the problem is now you've isolated a certain group. You've made a group, replace crusty white with crusty Asian. How that's going to go. Right? Create whatever you said with another group. You have made that group feel that it's not for them. But I want to get back to the original point, which is to the group now who is saying we're not supporting anything. I want you guys to look at something too. Just a mere instance of they, them. Imagine if you are a trans person, or imagine you are gay and you finally see something like, wow, this is something that's speaking to me. I can be myself in it. And the mere existence of it, people say, we don't want that in that game. To that person, it's going to feel like we don't want to see you in the game. I'm going to tell you how it feels. It's the same. And again, I'm going to play, because look, me and you talked offline. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't really get into politics and stuff like that because you try to stay out of it. Same. I feel I'm fairly progressive. I feel like there are some things I'm extremely conservative about.
There are some you and I are like identical, bro.
Yeah, I think we learned about each other like during a lot of stuff. And I'm like, there's other things I'm liberal about. Like I don't, there's some things I'm like, I'm about inclusion and about this. And there's other things I'm like, hey, that's a little bit too young to be infiltrating a child's mind with certain things. So I'm not easily figured out. I my thoughts vary on different
nuance,
things. I have nuance. That's my thing. So where I think what's happening here is, again, for the side who is saying about inclusion, the reason why they get upset is because they say, wait a minute. First, you told me this character was race swapped or gender swapped, and that's not organic, right? So then we say, okay, we're not going to do that. Now we're going to make a brand new character. Oh, it's woke. You see? So that person's going to say, you don't really want to see me at all. And thus the labeling starts with each other. Yeah. This one's that. You see what I'm saying? The pendulum is swung too far in these situations. That's what happened. Now, to the other side, the side that's like, yo, where I will give y'all is what Maddie was talking about with Dragon Age Veilguard. Not the existence of pronouns, not the existence that the character is there, but in games of true choice and fantasy and stuff like that, not that it can't exist, but we were always able to challenge in Mass Effect. We were always able to challenge in Past Dragon. They say, you may say you are this or this. What if I don't agree with that? And that creates the healthy discussion. But when you Saturday after school me and say, and push-ups and force it, now that side that don't like your in this ideology in the game is not good. You're not going to win them over. So that's what's going on here. Now back on point with Obsidian. What I would highly recommend people do is, at least in our case, me and Maddie have played the game. A lot of people are jumping out the window, talking about boycotting something that have not played anything, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is just like, look, Matt, I think you mean well, but you're doing your studio a disservice by saying I am doing something to piss a group off. I am doing something. You have now hijacked the intent of the studio. You have hijacked it, brother. I know what you're trying to do, but it's not a good. And I don't think I'm gonna be. I even with the 30, which God bless, I love that you broke that for me. Like, God bless.
Thanks.
But I can't see the studio saying, yeah, we were ready to talk about that. Because I even see Carrie kind of clean it up where she had the interview with Paris. It was like, hey, that's a baseline. And you know what I'm saying? We see that again, it's about the messaging. So again, not that I know you got the thing in your bio, all things represent myself, but this is not a second time people are going to say, you have now hijacked the thoughts of the entire studio, and the whole studio may not feel that way. And the last point I'll say, for everyone who's upset with Matt, I get it. If you don't feel it, you still don't want to forgive him, you think he's saying racist, that you're fair to say however you feel, and you don't want to support, that's fine. All I will say is this. We also cannot do this. The same way with Hogwarts. The ideology and the feelings of one do not represent everyone either. And I am not in good mind going to penalize an entire studio for the thoughts of one. We just went through that. But that's all I'm saying. It's an unfortunate situation because obviously there's a group that has, I would consider, not the greatest intentions, and some of it is, just going to be honest, grifting. But I do understand someone that says, God, I'm a white dude. That ain't sound right. That sound racist to me, bro.
Yeah.
I understand that. Like me, I have these conversations with race with me and you, me and Attic. I get that because if I'm being honest and I took crusty, the sentence, crusty old, and replaced that with crusty old substitute race, and imagine what that race gonna feel, right? So we gotta be fair here. So that's it. It's just a lot of pendulum singing. It's unfortunate. The sad thing about this, bro, that game is fire. like that game that I play, like that's what's being lost. This is the second time. We played the game the first time was being lost. Always talk about the frame. Everybody's talking about the frame rate.
Our fault. Our bad.
Yeah. Our fault. I'll take the L. Second thing is like, everyone's talking about, a pro down in the thing. And I'm just like, bro, this game is so amazing. And all I just tell people is play the game. And if they end up doing something like Veilguard, where you feel it's preachy and you feel that there's an illusion of choice and there's no choice, then give them the smoke. But we owe them the right to play a game before someone who's trying to hijack the conversation, destroy something before they've even played it based on their own grifting and I'm not with that. I'm not with that hive mind. Oh, since when we tell developers, no, we want this out of the game. The developer, only from the standpoint of, at the end of the day, that's creativity, those support. But it's the way I'm seeing it done. It just rubbed me wrong, Maddie. I don't know, man.
I get it. I love that you're speaking your truth, dude. You said a lot of great things there. I encourage everyone, just vote with your wallet, whatever it may be. I mean, that's the biggest thing you can do. If you see this and you're like, that's not that bad. And you see the game and you watch the reviews when they come out and you're like, dude, yeah, I'm going to buy this. Like, this looks fine. I will say, you never know in a preview window. I didn't get a sense that we are creeping into a Veilguard situation here, but we'll see. Again, we'll see. What we talked about with Sam King was right. And it's like, good point. We have to see the full scope of the game. Right. Good point. But I will say this is that nothing put me on super big watch playing it. But I also don't operate and think that way. I saw the pronoun selection. I was like, okay, it's an RPG. Like, I'm not trying to hand wave how people feel away, but I'm also like, it's a role playing game. I don't see any fourth wall breaking terminology here. I just see a pronoun selection. I'm like, okay, this has been here for like 8 years now. Like, I feel like it's just been a constant thing for a while. I'm like, whatever, I don't care. It's not really there for me at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
No, I will say, to me, this is the result of many things. Part of it, the reactions are getting stronger over smaller, if you will, because we're seeing examples like, I hate to zero in, but like I feel like because I spoke about it in my review, and I'm very proud of how I posed my critique of Tosh, and I feel like that's a character that, as we talked about in our spoiler cast, I said this is a very important character that BioWare let down tremendously. And because they let them down, it's colored an opinion of a type of character that can be included in these games. Where I say, like, speaking of Obsidian, you put Parvati on paper in front of most of these individuals, and it's gonna be like, yo, hell no, asexual, I can't romance her, I'm wingmanning her. That's stupid. But she is one of the most brilliantly written characters in a RPG.
Absolutely.
And I do side with COG in that you have to give that creative freedom to at least let them try to execute. If they fail, which I saw Veilguard absolutely fail, I am not so scared as to be able to call out things that, even as someone who has some progressive thoughts, like, I'm not afraid to be like, look, I support my LGBTQ community, but they deserve better than this character.
Than this, yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think there's something wrong with that. I don't want to speak on behalf of communities constantly, but I will just say that, like, I'll look at a character like that, I'm going to treat it like I would treat any other person. I think normalcy is key. I've talked about it with COG. Like, when I brought COG on Defining Duke, we've had that talk before. It was like, bro, I brought you in because you're great at your job, not because you're black. Like, I feel like I'm doing you a disservice by that, right? Like, so that's my approach to it. Maybe people disagree with that thought process, and I encourage that disagreement. But we have to start coming to the middle and discussing a little bit more. I know it was a wild swing one way, and then you get characters like that, which are intense and not as well thought out, and it makes you go like, see what I mean? And I get that. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong on characters like that, but I am here to say that the conversation has to start somewhere. And that's the heartbreaker, is I'm like, wait, we got to see the full breadth of the game before we start zooming in on character models and stuff. I'm like, I get it. I get the idea of, like, we're recognizing a pattern here. I get it. And, like, I'm one of those people who, like, I'm not team uglification, as they call it. Like, I'm not, making game characters ugly. I don't get it. I never had a problem with, like, Eve from Stellar Blade. I should have put it in my what we're playing. Like, I've been playing some Stellar Blade this week. I just got to, I think it's Zion. It's like super Nier inspired. It's awesome. I've never had problems with those sort of things. So I get the well-founded argument some people have. It's just, I feel like the anger and the vitriol is leading to responses like we got here from Matt, which is, instead of coming out and be like, hey, what can we do better or something like that? Right. I mean, it's kind of too late because the game's coming out soon, but it leads to regressing deeper into the gated community.
Yes.
Instead of talking and communicating and defensive ideology and, well, we're going to do this twice as hard now. And in turn, making things to make people angry, which to me is just like, there's developers' intent. And if that is your developer's intent, you're speaking on behalf of a studio. I can't say that for sure that all of Obsidian feels that way. Right. If they do, I would be very surprised. Right. And that is why I say, if I am somewhat at Obsidian, I felt deeply sad reading the back and forth, just because I'm like, this is one man taking a whole team down with him in a lot of ways. Again, intentions well or not.
Right.
It is an individual who has decided to put the team on his back and be like, this is my game, possessive.
That part, yeah.
And I wanted to make you mad. And I'm not mad by the choices there. As people saw, my Avowed preview was, I think, positive, yet measured. So I wasn't personally upset reading it or seeing that. And I have the nuance to be able to separate him from the rest of the team.
Right.
But pulling your coworkers, your fellow departments into that, even if they support you, by the way.
Right.
I just think is a short-sighted decision that drastically shrinks yourself compared to the competition that's now coming out. Like, you're not assessing the situation. Like, people have options in February. One of them is Kingdom Come Deliverance, which is a game focused on realism. Can you see the moment building right here before what I'm describing to people? We've seen this before. What are people going to go ahead and champion now? It's going to be KCD. It was already happening. and I'm sorry if that sounds blunt, but that is just what I have seen happen multiple times as someone who's covered multiple game launches and as someone who just seems to have a knack for just wanting to innocently cover games and get pulled into these moments where it's like, oh, great, this game's like on fire now. It's like, okay, we got to talk about it a little bit. So yeah, it's a messy situation, man, and it's upsetting. I hope there can be a conversation found, but it is a moment where I do understand where both sides are coming from to a degree. I do.
No, I do. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you didn't interrupt me. I was good.
No, I think last point I say is that again, I try to be empathetic to both, and for me, the last thing is the question I always in my mind, it always kind of yells at me is like, I'm not talking about Daniel's comments right now. I'm just talking about the existence of whatever a pronoun or a specific type of character or whatever, right? So the part of me is, okay, question number one, when is it okay? Right? And I want an honest assessment and self-reflection. If you are not a member of that group, when is it okay? Because right now it just feels like it's never okay. And for that group, again, if you have empathy and you put yourself in the shoes of another who gets finally to be excited to see anything that resembles, looks like them, or can relate to, right? Then the second thing I think about, one of my favorite shows of all time is a show called The Wire. Mm-hmm. And The Wire has an iconic character named Omar. And Omar was the most gangster hood Baltimore street dude who was robbing. He was the Robin Hood of the hood. He was robbing other drug dealers. This show was about inner city Baltimore, the cops' perspective and the street perspective. And it was one of the most accurate to this day. People say it's a crime. This show has not won awards. It's one of the best 5 seasons in television you've ever seen. It was on HBO at the time. You can watch it. Omar, I'm just thinking about that kind of how iconic it became. If The Wire came out now, and this character was eventually known to be a gay character, right? It was a shocking thing when it was revealed during the course of the season, but it was so well done and so accurate and authentic to the character and the way it was acted and presented. So what happened is people who, normally would accept, is accepted of this character became heroic. People were like, yo, Omar, any show that any episode he was on, he stole the show. You know what I'm saying? It was that iconic. But what I'm trying to say is, what I'm paralleling it to now is, could you imagine if this day and age, the script for The Wire leaked before the release, and you just read on a paper, black, gay, what are they, this era right now? What are they, the show wouldn't exist. It would get destroyed before it even really, before you can even see a portrayal of how it's done. That's all I'm saying. We have to get to the point of let's see the product and then judge on its merit if they execute it or not, and then we give them the smoke if we feel, this was you out here Sunday after school in me. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what? This is actually representative of what we feel, and that group also feels, oh no, we believed in how you did that. That was it. That's all I'm saying. Let's get back to that without the prejudging and the drifting.
Sure. Yeah, I think. Yeah, it all really just comes down in my eyes to just execution. Like these characters, like I was playing Trails in the Sky, which is like a early 2000s JRPG, and like the main character is Bai, and like this is a Japanese developed game, by the way, where like a little less progressive at that point in time in Japan, and so it's like, yeah, man, like this stuff existed all over media. Like Falcom's logo is a rainbow. Like I mean, it's kind of the writing's on the wall in a lot of these moments here. BioWare's always been an extremely progressive studio, but the difference is how it's handled. We talked about in our spoiler cast review discussion, me, Hogue, and Gene, we were saying like there's a character like Dorian in Inquisition, and you could see it's literally the same framework as Tosh.
Yes.
But it's handled so much better. That's all it takes. And that is the difference. And I there's been plenty of like gay characters and whatnot that have come out in recent years that have been well received. And I think it's just because of the handling. Like people, yes. I think people are totally for these types of characters. They just want it to be done with a purpose and a meaning. I know that's Absolutely. Not everybody. I know
I individuals just worry.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're speaking. I feel truth. I just worry that some in the group are hijacking the message.
Yes.
To say we don't want it at all.
Yes.
And that's all I want to just put a spot. But you are on point with there are a lot of people who have no problem. They just want it told correctly. And I would say correctly is the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying. You said it better than me just now. Whatever you just said was.
Well, it's just sad because these conversations need to happen, and admittedly, they're a little like scary to have. Like, there's a little bit of like nerves in having it, but especially in my shoes, bro, with the labels that got attached to me last month, I was like, it's fucking heartbreaking. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure some people are gonna be like, got him, but it's like, I'm for this stuff, man. It's just, it's got to be done better, and you know, I hope that constructive criticism can still make it through all the noise at the end of the day. That's all I can hope for. Yeah. And I say that because I will just say I noticed after my review and my thoughts, just individuals have blocked me in the industry, and I'm just like, it's very sad. I'm like, I don't think I had a unrelenting critique of Dragon Age in this toxic way. I feel like I took that responsibility and handled it with as much grace as you could. So I'm going to continue to do that. You know, the situation doesn't change who I am. Right. Mm-hmm. And so for me and Cog, I think it was just important, like, yo, like whether people like us or not, I think we can agree and a little circle jerk here. Like, we are just, we think we're responsible voices. Like, let's do this. Like, we can handle this. So, you know, it sucks to see. Again, it'll be interesting to track Avowed as we get closer to that launch, but it kind of sucks to be able to pretty much mark on the calendar like, oh, a mess is happening on February. That sucks, dude. I don't think anyone wants that.
No, that's reality.
Yeah. Still hoping the game turns out great. What I played was enjoyable. And we'll see what the final result is.
We'll see if they land up playing the rest. But what we played, I really enjoyed it. Now we just got to see the rest of the game. And to your point, hopefully we'll see how it goes in February. It's going to be wild.
We'll be there to talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll see you then. But thank you for sitting through us with a little conversation like that. We're looking forward to hearing what you have to say on the matter. And now we wrap things up, Cog. Game Pass pick of the week. We're going to the other side. I was supposed to say the other side of the pendulum, but I don't know if that's the right terminology.
Pendulum talk.
We are going to a different category, we'll say. So we have 2 write-ins first. We'll get into those, and then I will do my Game Pass pick of the week. First is Connor Reese. It says, greetings, Dukes. I'm here with a Game Pass pick of the week. I know there's a lot of great ones to choose from this week, but I have to shout out Nine Souls. This is one of my favorite games of the year. I recently wrote an article for Lords of Gaming about why you should play Nine Souls. So feel free to check that out, wink, wink. Nine Souls is the perfect blend of the Sekiro-like parry/deflection combat and the incredible world and story of Hollow Knight. Metroidvania Souls-likes are a dime a dozen these days, but in my opinion, Nine Souls is the very best of what the subgenre has to offer. Please do not skip out on this one. And Maddie specifically, I really think you'd love it since you finally clicked the Sekiro this year. Thanks for all you do and have a great Thanksgiving. This is on my list, Connor. I don't know if it gets done this year, but I do, again, like I said, I want to do like an indie sweep after Metaphor. Like, I think that's where my head's gone now, is like the indie sweep. And this is what I'm looking at. I've heard great things about it. Yes, Sekiro, I did turn a corner on this year. I fucking love that game. So very excited to hear there's a Sekiro-like out there.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Connor. He great guy. In the meetings, he's awesome, and he's been going hard for Nine Souls, man.
Okay.
And I found out me and him have a lot of similar gaming tastes. So shout out to Connor, man. He's like, where's Luis Guillermin for the voice acting, role? I was like, I know Luis does his thing. Luis does his thing in Metaphor. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So salute to Connor, man. Great writer.
Jeff Casteris is our other Game Pass pick of the week. Write-in. What's up, Dukes? I wanted to write in a Game Pass pick of the week. Need for Speed Unbound. We have to give EA and Criterion their flowers. They have done 9 updates since the game has come out. The last 3 have been great. They've added underground modes like Drag and Drift. They did a Hot Pursuit update that lets you be a cop with progression and everything. And now, with Volume 9 this week, they added an extraction mode, and it's a blast. Yes, an extraction mode in a racing game. They are doing, in capital letters, new things, and we have to applaud that. Anyone that says this game is bad or remake, reground, uppercase, lowercase, alternating, is just blinded by nostalgia and don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Unbound is all games combined. Fuck out of here. Love y'all. Keep it up. Jeff with the powerful write-in.
Damn, wow. He going extra hard.
Hopefully I brought the heat for Jeff with his write-in here. Lots of love here from Jeff for the Need for Speed community. I will say this. I played Unbound for like 2 hours and tapped out. I did not like it. But I will say these updates are very intriguing.
Yeah, very 9 updates.
The art direction in Unbound is what got me interested. It looked really good.
Yeah,
Really good.
I didn't even get a chance. I saw it. I was like, damn, is there so much stuff around it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they got the comp progression. All right, yo,
Comp
he's
progression is
selling me.
really interesting.
That's really interesting. That's
Yeah.
giving me opposite of like Road Rash kind of energy, and I'm curious to see what they do with that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
Right on. Well, what you also should check out is Maddie's Game Pass pick of the week. We're here to talk about Disney Dreamlight Valley. Oh my gosh. All right. So I did make a full retro rebound video on this, but a buddy of mine kicked this my way because we were, with retro rebound, we like to sync things up with like big pop culture releases. Moana was coming out. And I'm like, we already did Disney Infinity. That was a lot of fun. I love that game. I'm like, what kind of fun Disney game can we try? And with retro rebound, I do have a lot of fun targeting random ongoing games and just kind of assessing them in the middle of their lifespan. We've done it with, granted, this was the end of its lifespan, but like a Marvel Avengers. We've done it with like Jump Force at the end of its lifespan. Just kind of like legacy media is interesting, but also like ongoing media can be really fun. Like we did Dragon Ball The Breakers, and we did Disney Dreamlight Valley just recently. And a friend of mine who put like 200 hours into it was like, dude, this game is the real deal. And I remember it came to Game Pass, so I didn't want to spend the full 30 on it. I was like, let me try it over here. I had a friend who at the same time, his girlfriend, who is not a gamer, got into gaming because of Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Wow.
And so she liked it so much, she bought it for him on the Switch because she was using his Xbox. So she was like, you're going to play this? It's going to be over here. And so he fell in love with it. And I'm like, all right, I got to see what's going on here. And yeah, man, look, if you are open to an Animal Crossing style experience minus the nostalgia of Animal Crossing, you can get that here and then some, and I'll get into that. But I do not have Animal Crossing nostalgia. Like I grew up not playing many a Nintendo IP. I didn't have the money for them. I felt the safer purchase, silly enough, was the tie-in games, like, oh, it's my 19th Naruto game. I'm going to buy that. I mean, I was that customer, dude. The tie-in games got me. Oh, I loved episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I'm going to buy both versions of this. That was the safe purchase. They got me bad on that. So a lot of people, when I do retro rebound first time playthroughs, they're like, how, bro? You love games? And I'm like, yeah, because once I got money, I was buying stuff for my 360 and PS3, and I missed a lot from when I was younger. A lot, because I had to be very picky, and I can't say my selection process was very good, but I made a lot of picks nonetheless. So yeah, I missed out on Animal Crossing because of that, which is a very popular GameCube IP. And it ends up that it kind of works to my benefit with this game because now the nostalgia is kicking in with Disney as I'm running around Dreamlight Valley with like Goofy and Scrooge and Mickey. And as you're going through the game, you're cleaning up the valley. There's this thing called the Forgetting, which everyone who once lived in Dreamlight Valley has disappeared and doesn't remember what they were doing when they were here. And actually, some of the writing is very heartfelt. I will just throw that out there. You can actually be meaner in this game than Dragon Age of Velgard. I would just also want to put that out there. I was cooking up some Disney characters. Like Mickey was teaching me how to cook some food. He's like, yeah, I got an extra stove on me. And like one of the options was like, that's really weird, Mickey. I was like, let me see what he reacts to. And he's like, whoa, like, I thought everyone had an extra stove on them, man. And it was just, I don't know, like it's a kid's game, but it was funny. Like this game authentically made me laugh 3 different times during one of my sessions was 6 hours, bro. I was like, oh my God, this game. So anyway, you're cleaning up the valley. You're learning about the Forgetting. As you're going through, you're getting like little notes. You're talking to different characters. You're increasing your bonds with them and doing friendship quests. And then you're getting Dreamlight. And this Dreamlight, you're going to go into the Dreamlight Castle and you're going to unlock different realms. And there's a ton of them, dude. So there's the starter ones, which are like Moana, Wall-E, and Ratatouille. And then there's new ones they added like Frozen, Toy Story, etc. And then, interestingly, this game does traditional paid DLC. And they just dropped one recently, but these are like the standalone DLC. Like this game is ripe for the Battle Pass, and it kind of has its own little Battle Pass, if you will, but not really. But you can play it offline. It has like that traditional DLC support of like buy and it's yours. And you go and explore and it adds content. I think it's called Eternity Isle. I don't know anything about it because I didn't want to, I hate to say this. I didn't want to risk spoiling anything for myself because I was kind of into the charming little narrative that's there. It's not going to oversell, but I'm not going to undersell it either. But the game has a lot going for it where I was like, yeah, I'm hooked. Like you're running around, you're fishing, you're mining, you're cleaning, you're digging, you're planting, you're watering your crops. And at the same time as doing like all of that, you're leveling up your friendship, you're running quests with these characters, you're unlocking new parts of Dreamlight Valley, and they have their own set of objectives and tasks and other Disney characters that you're going to discover and bring them back and assign them things to do. And the game just, like, I'm barely scratching the surface, and even then I'm like, oh my god, this is a lot. Where it's supposed to be a game for kids, but I feel like it's made for people our age because there's so much to manage and consider and plan out and strategize. I'm like, and honestly, sometimes the quest directions are bad. I'm like, how does a kid play this? Like, like how do they figure it out without getting completely stuck at the end of the day? There's just so many different rules within the game. Like, you have an energy meter you have to manage, and so there's like a survival mechanic, and I'm like, this is a lot. Like, this is kind of intense, but it's way better than I ever gave it credit for. When I this was a Game Pass pick of the week for me one time. I played for an hour. I was like, yeah, it's pretty good if you like Animal Crossing and Disney, but it's just way better than that. Like, it's kind of got its own charm, not just because of Disney, but like these characters are so, like, I made this joke again. I don't mean to self-plug too hard, but in my Retro Rebound video, I made this joke that like Goofy was a serial killer because this man's like, so I found like a knife pretty much on the beach, and I picked it up. It wasn't like a knife. It looked like an arrowhead though, right? I picked it up on the beach, and all of a sudden you see in the footage, I pan up the camera. Goofy's like running at my ass, and he stops at the edge of the beach. He's like, how you doing? Like that. I'm like, what the hell? And so, I walk by him, and all of a sudden this dude's like sprinting by me again. He's hiding in bushes. I was in the middle of a conversation. You just see this dude creep up on the hill. He's like, hey, how you doing? Like that. I'm just like, this man is up to something. And I tell people, like, play the game from that angle where like Goofy's a serial killer. It's the funniest shit. Like, I was streaming it to a friend, and we were on the floor cracking up, just like at the shit Goofy does while he follows you around. Seriously, like, I know it sounds crazy. Like Maddie's like, he's probably on drugs or something like that.
I love it. I love it. Me and my friends do stuff like that.
I'm just like, yo, look at this menace. Like, look at him. Like, what was he hiding out there? Why is he in the woods?
What's Goofy doing, son?
Bro, because literally, like, you'll just be like walking around the valley. Like, I was on Dazzle Beach, and I just see this bro just like this in the middle of the woods, just by himself. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, dude? I'm like, this guy is creepy as hell. It's just wonky AI, I guess, at the end of the day. But like the way he behaves, if you frame it that way, same thing with Mickey. There's just something off about these characters. And it kind of adds to the loneliness of the game because you start off the game, it's like raining and it's like all dark in Dreamlight Valley. And it's really just like you and two other characters. And you're just kind of like, the music sometimes kicks in and the soundtrack is amazing. The game has a lot going for it where I'm like, all right, you're a dangerous one. Like, that was supposed to, by the way, Cog, this was supposed to be a metaphor night. It was not a metaphor night.
I feel you.
This was a Disney Dreamlight Valley session. It was a marathon. I was thoroughly hooked and kept playing and have continued to keep playing. And it's really good, man. So I recommend people check it out on Game Pass. It is. I also think it's mischaracterized. Like, I thought just from the outside again, like, oh, it's Disney, it's Animal Crossing, it's gonna be a monetization fest. This is definitely going to be a game where they have battle passes and they're going to change me on currency and all that stuff. But no, dude, like they like give me everything I need in surplus, and you just keep playing, and there's always something new to do, and that's where the hook comes in. It's got excellent design where you're just always on to the next task, and you're like, okay, now I'm mine. Now I'm gonna go eat. Now I got energy. I'm gonna go out and do this. Now I'm gonna do that. It's just you keep going, and those hours rack up. And all the comments on my Retro Rebound video are like people like, yeah, I played like 2,000 hours of this. Like, yeah, I played like 900 hours of this. Yeah, I played like 500 hours of this. Like, insane hour totals for Disney Dreamlight Valley. It is unironically a really great game. And I implore you, if you got the time and you're looking, by the way, we were talking to Christopher, right? Yes. New Duke of the Realm, Christopher, at the start of the show. You're looking for something to play with the kid. This is a good one too. It's not co-op. I wish it was co-op, but if you kind of like looking for something to play with a younger one or give a younger one a game for Christmas, like, this is perfect, man. It really is. So I just want to give some love to Disney Dreamlight Valley for my Game Pass pick of the week.
Nice. That sounds funny. It sounds a lot. You got me intrigued.
They got like
a big update going on right now. Something like Storybook Vale or something like that.
Yeah, those are the expansions to my understanding. There's two they announced this year. One just came out recently, I think, or it's about to come out. And then another one's on the way. And like, yeah, dude, this is like year 3 for the game. Like, it's getting support. It's getting support. So someone's playing it out there. So shout out to them, man. Awesome game. Disney Dreamlight Valley Game Pass pick of the week. Check it out. Let me know what y'all think.
Yeah.
All right, Cog, time to wrap it up. Any closing thoughts to end our show, sir? We have to do a hashtag as always, but
I know. We talked about things.
Yeah.
We talked about things.
Our lead topic was the handheld. So
was the handheld, clearly,
yeah,
right? So we got that. Obviously the Avowed stuff. How we gonna frick the handheld though? Flip it. Like both of them trying to do something. No.
If I knew how to spell shiesty, I would do
shiesty DD.
Yeah, I feel like that was your word of the show.
Yeah, shiesty. Yeah. That's
you know what we should do?
What you want to do?
We should do that and see how people spell it.
Yeah, let's just do it and let's see what comes back.
I actually sincerely don't know how to spell it, so I'm curious to see as I see the mentions rolling in and the comments rolling in how people plan to actually spell it. So, shiesty DD. You figure it out yourself. That's the hashtag this week. Comments down below, or you can tag us on Twitter. Cog is at Lord Cognito. I am at G27 Status. You can find us there. We're looking forward to hearing from you again. Hashtag ShiestyDD. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. Other than that, please take excellent care of yourselves, and we will be back next week for episode 205 of Defining Duke and Xbox podcast. Until then, peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.